The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. The money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
Welcome to American Red Cross Telethon. This year is an amazing year. We are so happy you've tuned in today to help support and give to American Red Cross and all the people in our community with saving lives with blood, saving lives with fire, people responding to fire, helping us in the community with your neighbors to make sure that they are living safer and doing things that are helpful to survival and to help with prevention with American Red Cross. I am very honored today. This is our 22nd annual telethon, and we are so grateful for all of our support. We have some wonderful people here that have been our people that we have depended on and helped us make sure we get our message out and do all the right things in the community. Senator Brown, would you like to speak a little bit?
Yeah,
Introduce yourself to the people out there.
It's wonderful to be here with all of you. And right, you said 22nd annual, which is amazing. I have been involved probably about 12 years, and Senator Scavello actually was the initial developer.
Very good friend of ours.
Yes, of the telethon for the right reasons, and realized there was a need to help raise some more money and to help the community. And then I came in about 12 years ago and have been with you all, and now continuing on to help you move forward and recognizing the need for the donations and understanding what you do as an organization, both nationally, internationally, and then locally, which we try to do here locally a little bit more to show the heroes, which people will see the different stories of some of your local heroes, and what you do on prevention methods and education, which is really important. And as a senator for Monroe County, for Lackawanna County, for Wayne County, you are absolutely in my realm. This Northeastern chapter is over 1 million people that you service. And so I think it's really important that through the telethon, everybody realizes the full services that the Red Cross does, especially locally, and then how they can help and how every little bit makes a difference. So I'm here to help you with that and support you.
Thank you so much.
Not only today, but through the year. And as we unfortunately have to deal with some tragedies in our community as well.
Yes.
So and we also have Len here.
Yes, we'd like to also introduce our board chairman, Len Lavanda. He has been with a Red Cross for a very, very long time. He is one of our biggest community advocates. He's out there. He's doing so much for us. Len, tell everybody why you're with Red Cross and what you're doing here, not only as the board chair.
Sure. Well, thanks, Sherry. Yeah, so I've been on the board for 10 years. I became the chair just last year. But about 10 years ago, I noticed that every time I turned on the evening news, there was a story about a weather-related disaster. It seemed to be a daily occurrence. And I later learned that in the 1980s, our country experienced a $1 billion weather disaster every 18 weeks. Today, it's every 18 days. So the need for the Red Cross has increased by a huge amount in that period of time. And I felt that I wanted to help to ensure that the Red Cross was able to get the resources and support it needed to continue doing all that good work.
It's wonderful. We're so grateful and thankful for both of you being here today, and not only here today, but all you do all year. It is very important for us to have that support within the community and the acknowledgement of what we can do better, right? So working together is helping us and improving our message, improving what we can do to help in our community, and we're so grateful for that. We also are grateful to many people. Without a team, this doesn't work. We have Zach and Kate Booth who have been with us forever, and
Right.
Zach is the one doing all this producing right now. He's
scenes,
always
right?
behind the scenes, and let me tell you, without him, there are no scenes. We do not have anything. And I want to thank him personally, and thank everyone here at the station. And I know, Len, you wanted to thank a lot our sponsors, you at home, our volunteers. Our volunteers, without them, we are not an organization. We cannot help you if we don't have them. So I always say the org chart's upside down. You know, I'm standing here, but I'm only standing here to help support them because they're the ones doing the amazing work in our whole organization.
It's a team approach.
It is a very much of a team
Well, you're
approach.
going to have to get Zach out here. Zach, you will have to, at some point,
You're-
during the show, you are going to have to be on
absolutely right.
camera.
You're
at one
absolutely
point.
right. That's
he's
a great
listening
point,
now,
and
but
I'm
you never
so
know.
happy that you were here to make that point.
Yes.
We also would like to talk about St. Luke's. Right, we have Don, who's on our board. He is our vice chair on our board, and he is president of St. Luke's. And we are so grateful for their support. They do so much within the community, and we are, we are lucky enough to be supported by them, and they see the need. They see the connection, not only with blood services, but all the other things we do in the community. We are so grateful for them that they stepped up and said, we want to be the ones to say we're the head sponsor of this. And
Terrific.
so grateful. We are so grateful. And thank you so much to everyone. Thank you at home for watching. Hopefully today you get a little bit out of something that you didn't know about us, something that you didn't know we did and the communities that we serve, something that maybe says, oh, I probably should do that, whether it's volunteering or putting in smoke alarms in your house, something that makes you more connected with us. I think you're going to find it. You're going to find it here, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for what you both do and the team. So I agree. I hope that this is educational and productive, and the community, community jumps in.
And we
they
raise,
jump in.
right, we raise funds because
Exactly.
you see the need. And it seems to happen. So we're grateful for you sitting there and watching today. Thank you.
Please donate.
Yes. Yes.
That's a ticket.
With that being said, we'd like to show you a video of the support and St. Luke's and what they've done to help us here at Red Cross.
The St. Luke's Monroe campus would like to present the American Red Cross with this check for $20,000. We appreciate all the work that you do in our community, nationally and abroad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, St. Luke's, for that amazing sponsorship. We are so grateful, and we want to really just say that this is what makes our response happen. This is what we do. This is how we can go out in your neighborhoods, and thank you so much. And I think with that, we have a new tote.
Oh, we do. We have
Senator Brown.
an exciting roll, a drum roll, of where we are moving forward. We are now at $20,410. So we're moving forward. So keep calling in those donations.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that.
Disaster relief has been at the heart of our mission for over 140 years. Responding to 3 million disasters, we've helped millions of people across the country. In 1881, months after Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross, we launched our first response, donating money, clothes, and furniture to victims of devastating Michigan forest fires. From this, we then began delivering emergency shelter, food, and relief supplies during disasters. This led to our first major hurricane response in 1893. For nearly a year in South Carolina, we stood with survivors who lost everything, helping them rebuild their homes and livelihoods. Early efforts like these laid the groundwork for our future responses, many of which we still use today. In 1927, the Great Mississippi River flood covered over 16 million acres, an area bigger than West Virginia. It was our largest relief operation since World War I. By boat and train, we delivered tents, food, and hygiene items, and inoculated people against water-related diseases. In 1969, Hurricane Camille was the most damaging storm on record. The night it made landfall, tens of thousands of people relied on us for shelter, just as they do today for all types of natural disasters. When the Northridge earthquake ravaged Southern California in 1994, thousands of Red Cross volunteers delivered aid such as health and emotional support, and served over 1.5 million meals. Then there was Katrina. At our peak response, we were serving 1 million meals a day. The 2005 hurricane became the biggest disaster to strike our country, and one we will never forget. Since then, severe weather has continued to batter communities, some again and again. In 2017, back-to-back hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria became some of the worst in U.S. history. And record-breaking wildfires continue to rage year after year. Looking ahead, as disasters become more frequent and intense, and with disaster seasons lasting longer and longer, we're continuing to adapt, just as we have for the past 140 years. In light of climate change, we're committed to grow our response capacity and deliver our services more sustainably, so the American Red Cross can continue to help future generations in need. Join us. To learn more and how you can get involved, visit redcross.org today.
One of our major accomplishments and things that we have done in our area locally and all over with Red Cross is our Sound the Alarm events. Our Sound the Alarm program is a program where we go in to people's homes, we install smoke detectors so that they can feel safe, so that they have a plan, an action plan of 2 minutes, because it takes 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to get out of a fire safely. And our goal here is to make homes safer. So within our area last year, we prevented, we installed over 1,000 alarms, 1,000 smoke alarms in our area. With that, we've made over 400 homes safer. So this is the goal. The goal is to actually not just do response with Red Cross. People think of Red Cross and they think, oh, they're the ones active at the fire. They're the ones we see them with the blood and collecting blood and saving lives. The whole idea is to save lives on all ends. So we want to make sure that preparedness is part of that. So going into homes saying, we're here to help you. We're not saying just put your alarm in, we want to install them for you. Our people, our volunteers go in and they take a plan and they look around your home and they say, this is where your alarm should be. This is what you should be doing. They help them plan this. So this is one of our major events that we do every year. Sometimes we do it and you'll see big events advertised. So if you see them around your area, we have big events advertised where people go in and do this. Other times we do it on a one-on-one. So people call in requests and we send the volunteers in to do it then. So this alarm program is probably one of our finest because it is preventing and keeping people safe. So we have an amazing thing to talk about. I mean, when you look at this, it's about outcome, right? So what are the outcomes? The outcomes are that people actually know what to do in the main part of a disaster. And this is the biggest disasters that happen are home fires. So let's talk about what's coming up, Len. That's amazing. Amazing story.
So Sherry, we have a video of Stevie and Jimmy. We installed smoke detectors in their home, and they subsequently experienced a fire, a pretty devastating fire. Here's their story.
It was the morning after Father's Day 2 years ago where I decided to smoke some salmon early in the evening. So I put in my last pan of chips, put my head back, and I fell asleep. And I woke up to the sound of what I thought was rain, but it was actually the fire. The side of the house was on fire, and I woke up and looked over my shoulder. It was just solid orange, like I was watching what I call fire TV. When I saw that, I immediately hollered at the top of my voice,
"Stevie, get out now!" So I headed for our designated meeting place, which was out front, and everyone else was already there.
Getting 4 adults out and 2 dogs was incredible, was almost miraculous.
I remember standing there and there were neighbors all around. The street was blocked off, filled with fire trucks.
All of a sudden, someone from the Red Cross showed up.
The compassion and the guidance and the caring made all the difference in the world to our state of mind. I just didn't feel alone.
Just about a year before the fire, the Red Cross was in our neighborhood and said they wanted to install some smoke alarms for us.
My first question was, how much does it cost? Money was pretty tight at the time, and he said, well, they're from the Red Cross and they say it's free. So we were happy to let them in, and they just set right to work.
And installed the smoke alarms for us and talked about the fire prevention and also the fire escape plan, which is the major issue that saved our lives and got us out of the house in time.
Had it not been for the Red Cross coming that day and sitting down with us and taking the time to go through the fire escape plan, I wouldn't have known how fast it happens. I would have had no idea. We had no time for hesitation. And because of the Red Cross and the information they gave, there wasn't any hesitation. We jumped up and headed out.
The Red Cross was there for us before the fire by sharing the smoke alarms, the fire prevention, and the fire escape plan. They were there during the fire to make sure that we had a place to stay and knew that we had a place to start over again. And they were there following up after, asking us about our medications and checking on our pets and things like that.
I just want to tell the Red Cross thank you When we needed you the most, you were there for us.
That was an amazing story about a couple who were fortunate to have smoke detectors in their home.
Yeah, so it's important not only that we show you, and we're showing you all the things that we do and what's important, but it's also to talk about how you can do this at home, right? So there are 7 ways to prepare for a home fire. These 7 ways are very important and very easy. So make sure you check your smoke alarms. Go out and see how many you have. Are they working properly? Are they installed in the areas they should be? Like once a month is a good thing to test, because especially if you have the kind that are battery operated, you want to make sure that they're up to date. You want to teach your children what happens when that happens. A lot of times we're in our kitchen and the smoke alarm goes off because it's in the wrong area. We want to teach your children what and how to respond when a real actual alarm is happening, and what they can do to prepare. Because it also takes the guesswork out for them. It's very important. We want to make sure that you find out your ways from every room. Like, what are we going to do if it happens in the kitchen when we're doing it, we're upstairs? Really analyze your home and try to figure out what the best ways are to make sure that you're safe and to prepare your family for safety. And establish an emergency communication plan. Which, you know, when we were in school and something would happen, they'd send you out in the parking lot, they'd say, okay, everybody meets here. Figure out where that is. What are you going to do? How are they? So everyone knows that no matter what, that's what they're going to do to make sure that they're safe and that you can accommodate for everyone in your household. And that is a very thing. And then practice. You know, a lot of times I know it's a tough conversation to have within the family, right? And you're home and you've had a long day. The last thing you want to do is try to practice. This is something that's very important to save your life. 2 minutes is not a long time. 2 minutes. So we want to make sure that that happens. And then how to call when and how to call 911. And you know that's a very a thing that has to happen at certain times so that you have that in your system and in your plan. And then if you're in the emergency and you actually are in a fire, stop, drop, and roll. I mean, these are the things that you have to look at and how to help you and help your family be prepared. Tough conversations, but really worth having.
Yeah, good point, Sherry. It's not just about having the smoke detector. You need the plan as well. Both go hand in hand.
Yeah, prevention's key.
All right? So the Red Cross helps with both.
Yes.
We're now going to take a moment to thank our sponsors who have been very generous in supporting the Red Cross. Our lead sponsor is St. Luke's Hospital, and here's a message.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
There's a sense of pride that you get with helping somebody. We'll go door to door inside of the community and we'll ask people, do you have any working smoke alarms in your house?
We want to be there to put these smoke alarms in, to give you hope and a way to get out of the house if a fire was to occur.
So when they see us, it's like, yes, thank you, you're here to make this happen.
It's a great way to spend an afternoon and give back to your community. On the morning of January 26, 2018, my parents' house had caught fire, and they did not have working smoke alarms. By the time anybody knew the house was on fire, it was fully engulfed, and more than likely my parents and brother had already passed away.
The one thing I remember is the knock at the door. The police knocked, it was 3 or 4 in the morning.
That knock on the door is forever in my mind.
If there was working smoke alarms in their house, all 3 of them would have been able to make it out because they would have had the alert that they needed to know it's time to get up, something's going on, but they didn't have that, and that's the hardest part. So our goal as a family is to try to help as many people as we can in the communities so everybody has working smoke alarms.
For me, it's a sense of pride, but it's also a feeling of healing because I get to help other people not have to go through this.
If I could be out there every single day doing it, I would. But we need volunteers because none of us have that time. But if we can all come together, we can all help. And that's what we need. And the more volunteers that we can get, the better it's going to be. Not just for our family, but for all the families across America.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
It's no secret that blood donations help save lives. For people with sickle cell disease, blood donations can play a critical role in their treatment for their whole life. Sickle cell disease affects approximately 100,000 people in the U.S., most of whom are African American. It occurs when red blood cells are hardened and sickle-shaped rather than soft and brown. Red blood cells then clump together and stop blood flow, which can cause sudden and lifelong effects, like debilitating pain, organ and tissue damage, and even strokes, preventing children and adults with sickle cell disease from participating in everyday activities. Fortunately, blood transfusions can provide an essential treatment. Transfusions replace damaged red blood cells with healthy ones, preventing sickled cells from blocking blood vessels and improving oxygen delivery throughout the body. So, patients can feel energized to return to daily activities. Patients with sickle cell disease may require frequent blood transfusions will closely match red blood cell antigens. Due to the variety of inherited red blood cell antigens, the most compatible blood donations often comes from donors of the same race or similar ethnicity. That's why increasing the number of donors who are Black is critical to ensuring patients receive the treatment they need. By donating blood, you can help fight sickle cell disease. To learn how, visit redcrossblood.org/ourblood today.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. Money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
So welcome back. We are very excited that you have been with us today and all the support that's been giving. Our sponsors have been amazing, right? I mean, for them to come out, we know that we can't do any of this without you, without your help, and without your dedication. We know that it is not easy, but we are so grateful for what you do. And by right now, right, we're looking at what our totals are. Amazing that people are so generous, and we are so lucky that they are seeing the value in what we do every single day, right? That when we see this, we know that this is why you are donating. And we want to go to the totals here.
I can't
Amazing.
wait. I'm excited.
So right now, I believe 22,500 is our new tote. Yeah, it's so exciting. I know.
Well, that's great. That's a great start. You know, I'm really, really very excited to see that after just a few minutes, we've reached such a good number.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. We are grateful to all of you, not only watching and learning and seeing what we do and understanding the process of how Red Cross works, but also helping out your community, helping out your friends and your families, volunteers. By all of that, the money that you are donating is to help with your neighbors, The people you see at the grocery store, people that you don't know. You turn on the news every single night, you're seeing fires, right? You're seeing devastation, you're seeing the need for blood. This is what helps, and we are so grateful that you're here to support that.
And you know, one point I'd like to make here, Sherry, 95% of our disaster team are volunteers. And what that means is that unlike a lot of other charities that have a lot of overhead, a lot of staff, our staff works for free. And so a very high percentage of every dollar we raise goes directly to help people in need.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your support. And we'd like you to go into, we talked about before on our Sound the Alarm campaign. But when you're home, we want you also to know how to install your own smoke detector. So here's a little video on how you can do that and make sure you're making your home more safe.
The American Red Cross reminds you to check the smoke alarms in your home monthly and to replace the batteries once a year. Checking your smoke alarm only takes a few moments and can provide life-saving protection for your family. To test your smoke alarm, take these 2 easy steps each month. Press the test button for 3 to 5 seconds. If you hear a loud beep, your alarm is working. It's that simple. If you don't hear a loud beep, then you will need to replace the batteries. To change the batteries in your smoke alarm, remove the alarm. Take out the old battery. Replace the old battery with a new battery of the same type. Put the alarm back in place and test the alarm again. You should now hear a loud beep, indicating your alarm is working. If your home doesn't have a smoke alarm, install one today. When selecting a location to install the new alarm, consider these tips. Every level of the home should have a smoke alarm, including the basement. Priority areas include a hallway outside of bedrooms, on the ceiling at the bottom of the stairways leading to the next level, and inside bedrooms or sleeping areas. Avoid placing smoke alarms in the kitchen or outside the door to a full bathroom. Now follow these easy steps to install your new smoke alarm. Place a sturdy ladder where you will install the alarm. Use a drill to insert screws into the wall to hold the alarm. Note the installation date on the back of the alarm, then attach the alarm. Test the alarm to verify the alarm is working. Now that you know how easy it is to test and install a smoke alarm, please join the Red Cross Sound the Alarm campaign. You can help us install free smoke alarms in your community that can save lives. To learn more, visit soundthealarm.org.
A lot of information there, you know, Sherry. I would advise our viewers to go to the Red Cross website. There's just a ton of information about fire safety and the whole range of programs that the Red Cross has to offer. So if you want to know more about what you can do to protect your home, go to redcross.org and you'll find all the information there. I also want to ask people to donate. That's why we're doing this telethon today. Your contributions are essential for the organization to continue doing all the good work that we're doing, whether it's installing smoke detectors or helping people who have suffered from a disaster. So please call 1-800-HELP-NOW or go to nipaheroes23.givesmart.com. Thanks. What do we have next, Sherry?
So right now we're introducing our first community impact hero. This is a program where we ask the public to come out and tell us who's doing work out there that's wonderful, right? And a lot of this is true to who we are at Red Cross. We want to make sure that those connections are, and the people are noted for all the wonderful things they've done. So our first hero is Bradley Jones. He is from Covington Township. He is the fire chief of the Covington Fire Station number 14. His whole family has been doing this for years and years. Now, I think it's important to note that this isn't his only job. He's just not, he's a volunteer. And he spends hours and hours. They responded this year to over 200 fires in that community, which is amazing. So his impact on the community is strong. His family impact on the community is strong. His son actually is starting now the process to help being part of that community and helping with the volunteer fire department. That is what is important to note. This is not just something that he decides to do once in a while. Yeah. Obviously, it's in his blood. Obviously, he's someone who's who's dedicated and his family's dedicated. And we are so grateful and so happy that he was nominated because it was well deserved. So I want you to go to the video and take a little bit of a look on who he is, who nominated him, and why.
Definitely a huge asset to our company and to the community. Being fire chief just isn't being the fire chief. It's, all of the background stuff and, applying for grants and making sure, the big industrial park buildings in the area are up to code and we know what's going in and out of them if there is any big actual incidents that are happening there. But yeah, it's incredible to see, someone that's in our town that has so much experience and really takes pride in what he does. And he's passing his knowledge down to all of us, 15 to 30 people that are in our company, and constantly training and setting us up for success. Always making sure everyone comes home safe and everyone's safe on calls. And even his son himself, his son's taking under his footsteps and in the fire company as well. But yeah, I mean, he runs his own business, family, to be able to do it all. It's just incredible. And to still, those tones go off and, you're out the door and they're first one there. So I think that that's another huge thing that, to have all of that stuff and then still be able to provide to your community to its full extent is just amazing.
I am a fourth generation firefighter with Covington Fire Company. My great grandfather was part of one of the founding members of the fire department. And then my father was fire chief the entire time I was growing up. So I was kind of raised in the firehouse. I was there as much as anyone. Grew up in the department, became fire chief, about 15, 16 years ago. Been doing this, officially since I was 14 years old, but unofficially, for my entire life. I'm very proud that my son has actually started with the fire department as well. He's in his fourth year in the department and doing exceptionally well, kind of on the same track that we were on. So yeah, it's been in my family. My great grandfather and great grandmother were founding members, and it just kind of filtered on down through to me and now my son. We're 100% volunteer department. And I just get to be the ringleader. It's all about the men and women of the company. They do an absolutely phenomenal job. It's, the cliche, when the tones go off and we're at dinner, we get up. When we're out with our families, we get up and leave. We, miss birthday parties and holidays, and that's all true. But it really is a 24/7, 365 job. So outside of the fire department, I own and operate a property management company that occupies obviously a lot of my time. But even still, when the tones go off, it's time to go volunteer and help wherever we can. So that's probably the one of the hardest parts, and I think that's what a lot of companies struggle with, is getting people that are willing or able to volunteer. 20 years ago, companies and bosses wanted individuals to join fire companies and help out, and had no problem with them leaving or taking some time off. I think that's more difficult now. People rely on their employment a lot more now. Not that they didn't then, but there's opportunities that employers may not permit that used to be permitted for volunteers. So again, our department is very, very fortunate. We have a lot of active members. We have members that have been with the company 50 plus years, and we have members that just started a couple weeks ago. So we're very, very fortunate in that aspect. I'm very fortunate to have the group that I have. It's not an easy job all the time, but they certainly make it easier with the commitment and the work that they do. I think obviously we work hand in hand with the Red Cross. Unfortunately, usually when something catastrophic has happened, or at least something has happened to residents of our township or neighboring townships that they need help beyond what we can provide. So I look at it as kind of a partnership. We do as best we can to protect their property and their life safety. But then we have to turn it over to someone to help them get back on their feet, or whether it's shelter or food or clothing. So the Red Cross has been fantastic to work with. They're literally a phone call away, and it's amazing how quickly they arrive. At least someone arrives to start the process from their end. Our department has worked with the Red Cross for at least 15 years now as a shelter for the Red Cross. So in times of bad weather or major events, we open our firehouse up and the Red Cross just spreads out and does their thing. And really does a phenomenal job. I can remember years ago we had a Greyhound bus flip over. There was about 30 or 40 people in the bus. Middle of the winter, it was just absolutely terrible out weather-wise. We actually school bused the occupants of the bus back to our firehouse, and the Red Cross set up for 2 days, fed them and gave them places to sleep and, you know, cleaning supplies and those types of things. So I would say our relationship is, you know, it's two completely different jobs and objectives, but we mesh together, and you know, Red Cross have been a great you know, asset to have in our toolbox. I think it's important, especially in today's day and age, to continue to pay back as best we can. You know, born and raised in North Pocono, I think it's important that I'm able to, at least personally, give back to the townships, you know, as best that I can, but also continue that volunteerism through, you know, the younger members and new members coming in, really laying the groundwork and guiding them to ensure that they know that, you know, if it wasn't for us, you know, there's a lot of people that could be in need. So, you know, it's not the paycheck isn't great. The hours are absolutely terrible. But I think just that, you know, the smile or, you know, the thank you that we get really makes it worth it.
Well, that was a very motivational video, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, our congratulations to Bradley Jones as being awarded our 2023 Community Impact Hero. He certainly deserves that honor. Our next video is about the importance of fire safety. As we've mentioned, we installed 1,000 smoke detectors just last year. One of the homes that we've installed a fire detector in was the Hudak family home, which is in nearby Lehighton. This video is a story about their experiences. Take a look.
So we moved here in 2017 and bought a house that had no smoke detectors, which I thought was kind of weird. My son was in pre-K and they had this cool fire safety week, and they sent home a flyer from the local fire department associated with the American Red Cross that smoke detectors save lives. Do you have a smoke detector? Do you need one? Give us a call. We'll come set one up. They went ahead and came out. They installed our smoke detectors, which I thought I would never need. It was a typical busy day for our family of 8. My husband was cooking dinner, decided to make pierogies. He put the oil in the frying pan and then came downstairs to get the pierogies out of the freezer. When he came back upstairs, the smoke detector was going off and the cabinets were engulfed in flames.
The stove was on fire. The oil had heated up faster than I thought it would. I guess it took me longer to go downstairs and get what I needed than I thought. And I had a pan full of flames.
I'm yelling at my husband to call 911, call 911. Firefighters come in, they put the rest of it out. The fire chief asked if we wanted help from the American Red Cross. He explained to me that they can help us get a place to stay while we're waiting for our insurance, and they'll make sure that we, you know, have the right resources. And they asked me lots of questions. What are you guys going to need? They gave me these cute little bags with toothbrush and toothpaste and deodorant. And then they asked me how many kids I had. And I said, well, we have 6 kids. And she went to the back of the car and brought out teddy bears for all of them. And she said, this is just so that they have a little something to, you know, feel safe again. And the kids' eyes just lit up. We got these like throw blankets that said the American Red Cross. Each kid had one wrapped around them. They were just so excited and so grateful.
The Red Cross was really helpful and supportive, and my kids hold on to those blankets to this day. So I think that is a testimony to how meaningful that little gesture of help was in a time when we really needed it.
My oldest son is autistic. Sean was the most upset over the house fire. He takes his American Red Cross blanket with him pretty much everywhere. Like when we go on road trips, that's the blanket he asks for.
you should support the Red Cross because it's like having car insurance. It's there when you need it. When you're at your lowest point, they come through to help you out.
So you can see that preparedness is really a focus for us. We're not just into response. We want to make sure that people are prepared. And when you look at some of our programs, we have Pillowcase and Pedro programs where we go into the schools, we teach children what it's like to respond, what you can do in the case of a fire for your 2 minutes to get out safe. So we teach that, and it's very, we do it on purpose because we know that the children are going to come home and say to you, do we have a plan? Are we someone who has a plan? And I know myself, I've gone through it, right, where they come home and they say, what do we do in the case of a fire? What do we have ready? And that's why these are really strong programs for us, because we go to, you know, you can go to your Girl Scouts, your Boy Scouts, any community where there's young children, and teach them. And it does it in a way where they're ready, they're prepared mentally and what they need to do. And a lot of times they're the reason that the adults get on board with making sure that they have an escape plan in their home and a prepared way to see what they can do to respond in the event of a fire. So when we do these programs, we are very sure that your children will come home and say, we need your help, right? Mom, Dad, Grandma, cousin, anyone in the household. How can we respond if we don't know where to go or what should we do?
That's a great way to reach the parents.
It definitely is. It is. And it's something that you get aware of without knowing you're being aware, right? So the children make sure that you know, and you, as you know, most children are very persistent when they have something in their head. So we are grateful for this program. We are grateful for the people who give us the opportunity to go into the schools and teach. Our volunteers are very strong. Within our community last year, this program was a very strong community, or a very strong program within our community. We have gone everywhere, and we have requests to go everywhere to do these programs. So if there's something you need to know or something you want to know, reach us, 1-800-RedCross.org, wherever. You can call us, you can call our phone number, you can email us. We will find a way to help answer those questions for you, because these are the programs that we offer. We offer it to everyone. So if you are interested, please reach out to us, because this is very important for all of us to stay safe and stay prepared.
Hey, Mia! What's the key to staying home fire safe? Get it? Key, 'cause piano.
Oh, brother. Pedro, you always enter on a high note. First, we make an escape plan. Then there's 3 big things that you got to know. Stay fire safe just like a pro. Practice twice a year, Pedro. A clear, safe path, bud. Let's go! When the smoke alarm beeps, everyone outside. In under 2 minutes, use your plan as a guide. Get down low, then out you go. And never go back into a burning home. Beep, 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 goes the smoke alarm. That's our cue to move away from harm. In under 2 minutes, get low and go to an outdoor meeting place we know. Watch your way out, you gotta stay there. Never go back inside, beware. You're more important than anything, so keep far away. Come on, let's sing. When the smoke alarm beeps, everyone outside. In under 2 minutes, use your plan as a guide. Get down low, then out you go, and never go back into a burning home.
That's what I call a hot tip.
Oh, Pedro.
So when you look at Pedro programs, this is something that you can see the value in, and we are very happy that they're taking place constantly within NEPA. And next, we'd like to go into some of our blood services and the heroes and the people who are nominated for these. We are very grateful for all the nominations, and we choose the nominations carefully. We have a committee that goes in to say, look at everyone who is nominated and figure out who best suits the categories. So thank you so much for all the people who have done that in the past. And let's talk about our community impact hero, another one, right? So we have someone from Misericordia University. She's our hero, and she has the one who coordinates blood drives. We're always talking about go to the blood drive, go to the blood drive. But someone has to figure out where those blood drives are and how they're going to happen. And logistics is very difficult. I mean, it's not just something that you can say, I want to have a blood drive. You have to make sure you have a plan in place, or a place to have it, you know, how many people are going to attend. You know, so it's not just a you know, something that just appears. And we are very lucky that we have this next hero who is someone who supports us and has done so much to help us with our local blood drives.
Misericordia has a long relationship with the American Red Cross. They have been with us decades of holding blood drives, and their blood drives are extremely successful. They have numerous aspects, numerous departments that get involved, the Student Nursing Association, the nursing department, Jennifer, they all get very actively involved in this blood drive. And the marketing class had held it for years, and then the Student Nursing Association took over the drive. They have been doing phenomenal, and very, very much appreciate their support.
Essentially with SNAP, we will reach out to the members and ask for volunteers. And then usually the officers are there helping, working, and sometimes we even donate our own blood. I know I have in the past. And usually we'll check off names of people who signed up to donate blood and just assist them with where to go to donate the blood and stuff like that.
We'll have anywhere from, we have like 4 in like hour blocks. So depending on how long it goes, we can have up to like 30 volunteers helping check in or helping observe the donors after they donate, just to make sure they don't like pass out or have any type of like bad reaction to the donation, and just making sure that everything kind of goes smooth.
I think it definitely means a lot to the people of Misericordia, and it just goes to show how we act through our core values with mercy, hospitality, service, and justice. And I think everyone in the Misericordia community is always so willing to donate their time and help out in a lot of ways. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about Misericordia.
I think Melina kind of hit the nail on the head. Like it just goes along with all the core values that like we learn here at Mays, and then with nursing, just like the usefulness of blood and how big the need is for it. And it just is nice to be able to help in some sort of way.
I do remember that, like, for a lot of the drives, when we have people signing up to volunteer, we always get like way more than like we ever need. And it's just like nice to see that so many people are like willing and offering to help out with that.
I actually have a memory from 2 years ago during COVID when we were doing the blood drives. We had to have obviously all the restrictions in place with the distancing and everything. So space was limited. And then the Red Cross actually brought their, I think they call it like the blood bus onto campus. And we were like trying to coordinate where to move the bus to, where we can check people in close to it, and then have people donate. And then even during COVID, we had people, like all the time slots would fill up, and we would still have people walking up so they can do a walk-up appointment, which I thought was nice.
Well, I was really very touched by that video because I'm a blood donor myself. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but I just got my 4-gallon pin.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
One of the nice things about the Red Cross is they have an app that allows you to track where your blood donation goes. I happen to have a very rare type of blood, so it often ends up out of state. And it's nice for me to know that it completes the journey and reaches somebody truly in need. Every 2 seconds in the United States, somebody needs blood for medical reasons. That's phenomenal. And the Red Cross provides 40% of the nation's blood supply. So if you can, please donate blood. That's another way you can support the Red Cross.
Thank you so much, and it really is true. We do need constantly, and it is nice. We are the only people, Red Cross, we are the only one who could transport blood over county or over state lines. So it is something that we make sure, and it's nice to know that you're tracking as well. We're very, very proud of people who are actually helping us in this department, because you can't replace blood, nothing else, right? It's the only thing we can do. To donate, to give to your fellow human is the only thing you can do to help people when they really need it. So thank you so much for that.
It feels good.
Really, thank you. We're so grateful. And we want to talk a little bit about the people who are our sponsors, right, in our
Yes,
past. They've done so
absolutely.
much for us. And Wayne Memorial has done a lot in our sponsorship, and we are so grateful for them. And we want you to take a look and see some of the work that they're doing as well.
Hello, I'm Jim Petnato, CEO for Wayne Memorial Hospital. I'm here with our administrative team today, and we are glad to partner with the American Red Cross. Thank you for all you do.
Hi, my name's Ngozi, and today I'll be talking about hosting blood drives on campus, why I do it, and why I think you should do it too. So I'm a student at Yale University studying sociology with a health and society concentration, and I've been involved in hosting blood drives with the Red Cross for 3 years now. I would say that hosting blood drives makes me feel useful, I guess, and it allows me to, and it helps me kind of feel helpful as well, because I'm able to connect with administrators at my school, and also connect with the Red Cross and kind of with the surrounding community around Yale as well. And all the work that I'm doing is to save lives through blood donation, which I think is really cool. So I started helping with hosting blood drives on my campus 3 years ago, my first year. I mainly served as a volunteer, and then I became a donor coordinator where I was helping recruit donors on campus and in the local area. And now I'm currently president of our American Red Cross Club, and I help find locations on campus where we can host blood drives, and still kind of coordinate with our Red Cross coordinator on how to recruit donors and volunteers. So that's been really cool. And again, it's just been really cool to actively help with saving lives through blood donation. I think it's important for college students like myself and others to host blood drives on campus. One, because campus, or I think most campuses have like the resources that sometimes like local communities may not have in terms of like physical locations to host blood drives. So I think it's a nice way to give back to the local campus community by not only giving space to host these blood drives, but also through like the blood donations themselves. And like students are a great population to help donate blood because they're relatively healthy. So I would say those are kind of two reasons why I think it's very important for college students specifically to host blood drives on their campuses. And then if you're considering hosting a blood drive for the first time, I definitely recommend talking with people who work in facilities at your school, and coordinating with the American Red Cross coordinator in your local area as well, to see what you would actually need, what you would need in the rooms, what temperature the rooms need to be at, the capacity. So I'd say that's the first step. You should reach out to facilities, staff, administrators if necessary, to see, one, if you're allowed to, and if you have the means, what rooms, what spaces you can use, what clubs you can coordinate with to get volunteers, to get the supplies like tables and chairs, things like that you need. In addition to that, I think that hosting blood drives generally can help with people's future careers, just because it really helps you develop your leadership skills. You're able to delegate tasks, communicate with all these different people, whether that's admin and facilities, trying to make sure that you can secure rooms for the blood drive, or working with your Red Cross coordinator to see, we need to try to get more donors. How are we going to do this? How are we going to work together to get this done? And it's also about like delegating tasks to other people, which is definitely a really important skill if you're about to go into the real world, because you cannot do everything on your own. So I think that's definitely very helpful, and that's also how I think hosting blood drives has helped me become a much better leader. I will say it's been a lot of fun hosting blood drives on campus, just because there's always like the nurses and staff from the Red Cross are always playing music, so it's also just like a fun time to like vibe, I guess. But then it's also given me like volunteer opportunities, even beyond the blood drives, which has been really cool. And like I've said before, I've gotten a lot of leadership experience from hosting these drives specifically. And then I think, again, like probably one of the most exciting parts is being able to like actively contribute to like the health of the population around you through blood donation and like being the source through which that happens. Yeah, I definitely recommend it, would recommend to a friend. I hope you can get involved and join the team of Red Cross leaders or blood drive leaders that are helping to host blood drives all over the country on different college campuses.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Changes in our climate are causing more frequent and intense storms, heavier rainfall, higher temperatures, extended droughts, and nearly year-round wildfires. As these extreme events increase, it's more important than ever to be prepared. Download the free American Red Cross Emergency app to help protect yourself and your loved ones today by searching for American Red Cross in app stores and selecting Emergency Alerts or visiting redcross.org/apps. We designed the app with accessibility in mind so that people of all abilities can use it. A new and easy-to-find language toggle makes it simple to change between English and Spanish. The emergency app lets you customize and choose between over 40 NOAA weather alerts. Choose to receive full NOAA weather alerts in Spanish or English. The best time to get ready is before an emergency happens. That's why the app also features short learning modules to help you prepare with step-by-step instructions focused on the most common risks where you live. We explain how climate change has impacted each hazard so you know what to expect. We also provide you with a digital to-do list so you know exactly which actions to take to prepare. Check them off as you complete each one to help you keep on track. And if a disaster impacts your location, you can easily find open Red Cross shelters with our interactive map and track real-time conditions with 6 different weather overlays. Prepare to protect yourself and your loved ones with the emergency app.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. The money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
Hey, we should volunteer for this.
I wish I had time.
Scrolling all day, time can disappear. Wanna make it count, why not volunteer?
Posting pics of your food, that takes up time. Maybe just eat me, I don't really mind.
Time, you've got time. As your reflection, it's my duty to say.
Time, I've got time.
All my pics are the same.
I am some eggs.
10 hours a week deciding where to go eat.
Well, where do you want to eat? Maybe let's not go out to eat.
You paint your walls from cream to white, then from white to cream, then back to white.
Time, you got time to binge all of season 9, though it got so bad.
Time, you've got time. We're gonna grow back and be the same brows you had.
Time, you got time.
Listen to my plea as I harmonize.
Time, you've got time.
Zooba-doo-bop, wow.
Just a few hours to keep families from harm. Help us end home fires with Sound the Alarm.
Volunteer for a day to install free smoke alarms in your community.
Well, right now I am deployed, getting ready to move into Milice, Poland.
I'm going to be deployed to Romania.
I've been at MK Air Base in Romania.
I was in Lithuania for about 4 months.
It's an amazing opportunity to give back.
To me, it's just an adventure, it's a challenge.
This organization itself is a really good home for veterans.
When I retired from the Army, I really missed the bonds that you create while you're in the military. There are no bonds like it.
And I want to give back. I know what it is to be in the service. I know what it is to be away from home.
As a military spouse, when I saw the opportunity for the job posted, it seemed like it was the perfect opportunity for me to see the other side of deployments. We were able to incorporate just some of the fun, unique ways of bringing America to our soldiers that are there.
To give them activities in their off time.
Whether it's just sitting down and talking about home.
We'll try and put on activities, whether it be a bingo night.
We would have a game night, either bingo or trivia.
A fun run.
We had movie nights, popcorn showings, a lot of holiday events.
I organized a huge weightlifting competition.
Tailgate party for, the Super Bowl.
Maybe a cooking class.
In Iraq, I baked cookies.
We celebrated National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
Trying to make it a little bit more like home.
We just want to make it a little bit easier for them. Part of our job as Red Cross SAF is that we deliver emergency message communication.
I try to imagine, what it would be like to be 7,000 to 8,000 miles away from a family member, and you get a message that someone is gravely ill.
So I've been there where a guy gets a call and they need to be home for their mother or their grandmother or their father, or whoever is closest to them, and they'd like to see them either before they pass or in the moments that they're needed most.
We are able to create the opportunity for these service members to receive these messages, receive their leave, and get home as quickly as possible because of it. You have to be fluid. You have to be positive.
I think it takes someone that is flexible and tolerant of when things don't go exactly as planned.
If you don't mind living uncomfortably for a few months, if you embrace that challenge.
Some of the areas that we live in are very basic. I mean, I'll be living on a bunk bed in a tent on my base.
Be ready to have a great time and enjoy the ride.
The main thing is just to have a heart of service.
Because we all know that at the end of the day, the mission is to take care of people.
So this job has been something that has meant so much to me.
It's about being a part of your community.
My heart feels full because I know I changed lives, and that's
So thank you, Wayne Memorial, and thank you to all of our sponsors. We are fortunate to live in a community where we have such generous businesses who have good feelings of corporate responsibility. They give back to the community. And it's nice to know that when you're doing business with one of these companies, you're doing business with somebody who helps your neighbors and your friends and your family. So that's great to know.
It really is.
So Sherry, it's time for another tote.
I know, speaking of exciting. So we are very lucky and very proud to announce our new total, $23,500.
Excellent, thank you everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you're doing out there in the community and helping us, and we would just like to say that we are so grateful for everything that you do, for having the time to sit here and maybe learn a little bit about Red Cross, learning what we do, learning who's doing what in our community, and then supporting us this way. We are so grateful. Thank you so much.
Our next video is of somebody people who watch Blue Ridge TV probably know quite well. Kim Bell Kim, you may not know, has been a board member for many, many years and was a former board chair and has made major contributions to the Red Cross. So here's Kim's presentation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Bell, the general manager and a news anchor for BRC 13. I'm also a longtime supporter and local board member for your American Red Cross. I have witnessed how the local chapter of the American Red Cross steps in when things go wrong. Volunteers are there when a fire breaks out on Main Street in Stroudsburg. They are there when power outages across Northeast Pennsylvania force people to leave their homes in need of a warm shelter. This year's telethon is a great way for all of us to take a few moments and make a financial contribution to this worthwhile nonprofit organization. For over 140 years, volunteers for the American Red Cross have been helping people in need. When there's a fire in the Pocono region, the Red Cross volunteers respond immediately, offering food, shelter, and support for families facing disaster. When a hospital needs blood, the Red Cross is there. Your blood donations help neighbors dealing with serious health issues. Next time you see information about a blood drive, consider rolling up your sleeve to help out. The Red Cross has also installed millions of smoke detectors in homes across the country and right here in our local communities to make sure if a fire happens, the people in that home have a chance to get out safely. Every year, the Red Cross opens and staffs emergency shelters during severe weather, offering cots, blankets, and supplies to those in need of a warm, safe place to ride out the storm. And the volunteers also provide millions of meals to disaster victims and to the emergency responders helping at the scene. Now you can help. Make a difference by calling the number on your screen right now and support the local American Red Cross.
Well, thank you, Kim. And thank you to Blue Ridge Cable. There is a staff of people you can't see who are working here very hard to put this all together. And we appreciate their time, their expertise in helping us put this telethon together. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So this directly goes right into our community impact hero, because everyone who does things within the community and changes the community for better, we're happy to recognize. So we have a hero. This hero is unique, I would say, because during COVID, we had so many different restrictions and approach from how we can get our blood services up and running. We had people who couldn't go out. We were all under lock and key. And here was someone, Shane Bradley from Fox Hill Country Club. He did something different. He thought differently than everyone else and thought, I'm still going to be able to run these blood drives. I'm still going to support the extreme need for blood during that time and figure out a way to do it. And when you look at what he's done and how he's done it, you can see truly how he is an impact hero for us at Red Cross.
Mr. Bradley is the general manager for Fox Hill Country Club. Another one of the people that have helped us throughout all of COVID. As you know, many places, which it is a country club, really had to shutter or limit what they were doing operationally during that time. Mr. Bradley had been running blood drives with us for quite some time, but also didn't shutter the doors when COVID happened for us. He made sure we were there, kept us open when it was a challenge to really find places to hold blood drives. He offered in any way if we have a situation where we need a rescue location. He is the first person that will put his hand up to say, I'm here. We have groups, businesses that often don't have maybe a place inside, or they're not, or a smaller business and they want to host a blood drive in the community. And he, again, first person to say, yes, absolutely, have them host a blood drive here. If it's a school that wants to do something for the community, Mr. Bradley's, again, hand up, we're here, what do you need? And I mean, he will call you back immediately. Just amazing to work with. He's always looking for ways to expand the blood drives, grow the blood drives, and everyone from our staff just loves anyone. I encourage anyone, even though it is a country club membership, it is beautiful, and our staff just loves going there. The donors love to donate. In the community there, it's such a peaceful, beautiful, relaxing country club that everyone going there, it's a favorite, and he is a favorite as well of our staff.
More or less, I was Jackie's go-to, I believe, during that time. They had venues that were canceling on or late. The clubhouse was sitting empty. A lot of the restrictions that were in place at that time from the state of Pennsylvania prevented our members or our guests from utilizing their indoor areas. So hosting the blood drive just seemed to make sense. We had the space open, we were following the guidelines, and it really was no hardship on us. And even if it was a little bit of a hardship, we would have worked through it. I think it was the right thing to do. Probably somewhere between 6 to 8 total blood drives during that time, starting, it might have been the middle of 2020 when the Red Cross got back to blood drives. I don't recall the exact date, but anytime Jackie would call or anytime there was a last minute cancellation, we would just shift them over to the club here and utilizing our banquet area. Well, I know for myself, being a blood donor as well, that there were so many people that wanted to help during that time and didn't know how, and hadn't given blood before. So I know we had a lot of first-time donors that came in. I'd see them with the stickers walking around after they had donated, and I know from our own staff and even people who were members of the club who donated for the first time. So that really was a good feeling to know that they were trying to figure out a way that they could assist. Whether they couldn't donate food or clothing or other items that people were in need of, they're at least able to, like you said, roll up their sleeve and make a donation of blood to save a life. We always have the same person that comes to organize the blood drives here at the club, but I hadn't given a Power Red donation yet, and I'm an O negative donor. So I came in, and she more or less just came over and said, "You're going to do a Power Red donation today." And of course I agreed to it, whatever we had to do. And the process was explained. So I had done my first Power Red donation at that time. And since then, that's the donation that I make as a Power Red donation. And I just kind of laughed after it because I got done. She was kind of giving me a hard time and saying, "See, I told you it was going to be easy," but I was a little worried about it, but it really was simple, as similar to giving a normal donation. I would just encourage anyone who has the available space to participate. The Red Cross does all the work. It's just a matter of supplying the open area. I know for myself, I think it's great to have people come up and see our facility. We have a beautiful golf course surrounding our clubhouse, and if they haven't been to Fox Hill before, it gives them a chance to see it and just kind of take it all in. I mean, and the blood drives themselves, I mean, you have the opportunity to help somebody. I think it's an easy way to do it, and I would definitely just encourage anyone who can do so to do so.
Well, congratulations, Shane, on your Community Impact Award. You were one of the few who opened your doors during the pandemic to let us collect blood. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you. So we have a lot of people on a team here at Red Cross to make this work out, right? So we have a very large team in our community. We have a team with our volunteers, our partners out there. And right now, I think the team we should all think about joining is when you have Peyton Manning out there doing a team Red Cross and a team blood donation. So we'd like to join that team and have you watch this video and see if maybe you want to join this team as well.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and I'm partnering with the American Red Cross this year to tackle blood shortages. Giving blood's important because every 2 seconds someone actually needs blood, and unfortunately only like 3% of the U.S. population donates. So we have to step up to give and to make sure there's plenty of blood available for those in need. The Red Cross actually needs to collect 13,000 units of blood a day, all from volunteer blood donors. And January is National Blood Donor Month, and that actually coincides with one of the most difficult times to maintain a sufficient blood supply for patients in need of life-saving transfusions. Sports has always been in my blood from a young age. Football is the ultimate team sport, and I've always relied on my teammates, always counted on having that team around me to help us try to win and try to achieve success. In that same fashion, if everyone does their part together and we collectively as a community commit to donating blood, we also can stack up more wins. One person alone is certainly impactful, but a whole team of people coming together to donate has an even greater effect. Just imagine you had a friend or a family member who needed help. Okay, you would want to step in and help any way you could. That's one way to do that for others that can have such a large and lasting impact. To anyone who is fighting through something right now, just know that you are not alone. The courage and strength you have is inspiring, and we are working with American Red Cross to support you in your fight. Visit redcrossblood.org to get in the game and make an appointment to give.
All right, when we speak about blood and asking for donations, you see us all the time out on the news looking for your support, for your rolling up your sleeves and helping us with blood. And we want to thank you for that. That is a huge part of what we do. But there are other parts of blood services, right? So we have volunteers that go out all the time, and their job is to transport that blood to the hospitals. It is a transportation specialist position. And let me tell you, it's the most needed position, right? We have people who we have hospitals who call and say, this is what we need, this is when we need it. And we also have scheduled routes where hospitals have us already contracted out there to make sure that we're delivering the certain types of blood that they had ordered in time to help save the lives within the hospital. So these positions are something we are always looking for. If you're someone who likes to drive, you know, if you're someone, whatever it is that you like, we can put you into different volunteer opportunities, but we are always looking for people who want to run that driving, that blood saving, you know, need to every hospital in the universe. So that's what we're looking for. So yes, yeah, and if not,
I might apply for that.
That's no, it really is a position that is extremely needed all the time because it's constant. There's a constant need for it.
Great.
I donated blood because I knew that my donation could make a difference in so many different people's lives.
The more you do it, the easier it gets, and you feel strong after. You feel like you did something great.
This impact is just so lasting. It's not something that's going to go away. It's not something that's going to disappear.
Well, I've been donating blood since I was in high school, and so I always knew that there's just a possibility you can help somebody out. It don't really hurt, for real, and they give you food after, so I was like, why not do it?
The people that do receive blood are super grateful.
It's not that hard, it's really simple. You can help somebody.
I was really nervous to give blood for the first time because I've tried multiple times but always got deferred, and then my nurse was really supportive and I ask a million questions when I get nervous, so she was really there for me.
I thought it was going to be more scary than it was, like with the stinging of the arm and needles, but it's fine. The cause made me want to do it and get over the fear.
Giving blood makes me feel grateful for just giving back to my community and my family members.
Giving blood to me is one of the more selfless acts that you can do just because you can't directly see the impact it has on the recipient.
But knowing that you are seriously contributing to saving lives is an amazing feeling.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. The money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
If you would have told me even a year ago today that I was going to need blood transfusions, I would have said you were crazy.
Ashley is funny. I know outside of the house she's quiet, but inside of the house she's loud. And as tough as she plays, she's very sensitive.
Basketball brings me a lot of joy, and I think it's kind of just like my outlet. When stuff isn't going right, off the court, I'm kind of like in a bad funk. Playing basketball really, takes that away and makes me very happy.
The plane landed, she said, I really don't feel well. So we went on campus and picked her up. She gets a text that says, hey, it's not tonsillitis, I have mono. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sleeping and I hear Dad, Dad, like faintly. So I said, Ashley? And she said, yes. Where are you? In the bathroom. She woke up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, and she's so weak she can't get up off the toilet.
I'm usually someone that, gets extra work before or after practice, but I just didn't have the energy or mental capacity to come in before and get that extra work in. And so the doctors were, going crazy, asking me how I had played in the Stanford game, and then just went on to tell me that I was going to need blood transfusions.
You went from seeing your kid playing on national television on Friday and Wednesday, she can't walk. I don't know where we would be right now. The conversation would be different if she didn't get the transfusions. And it took 8 total transfusions, but it brought my baby back.
Once she got the transfusion to what she needed, she was back to Ashley and laughing and talking and, being silly, physically being able to do what she needs to do. It was literally like a light switch.
Just to be able to see my body go from point A to point B was a crazy experience. Going from sleeping, 16, 17 hours a day to being able to, go through an hour workout was just like, wow for me.
There needs to be blood in the blood banks. It saves lives. It doesn't just help lives, it literally saves lives.
It literally saved my life. If I hadn't had that blood that day, I'm not sure what would have happened. So I think just being able to literally save someone's life is a cool thing to do.
I want to thank our sponsors again. Their generosity helps us keep going. We have increased needs for Red Cross activities. We need more money. We need more resources. We need more people. And these donations are critical to our success. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to those of you watching this, if you haven't called us or contacted us yet, please do so now. Please donate as much as you feel comfortable doing. Your money goes to help your neighbors and friends. You can call 1-800-HELP-NOW, or you can go online to NEPA Heroes 23 Give Smart. I'm sorry, NEPA Heroes 23.givesmart.com. There are 2 dots in there.
Yes, 2 dots. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate all of your support and thinking about contributing some type of donation to us. And with that, we are so lucky that we have so many people who send in for our community impact hero nominations, right? So we have people out in the community all the time who are doing wonderful things. No, we cannot say how wonderful everyone is, and we would love to. But the people who nominate these heroes are truly inspiring other people to do so. So this has been going on for years and years, our hero program. We have one hero that is very close to our heart as well. Kelly King, she does so much with American Red Cross, right? She is someone who blood drives, the Ride for the Red. This is all in your local community. Ride for the Red, blood drives, sound the alarm events. So everything you hear us talking about all day, Kelly seems to be a part of it. So I want to toss you to this video so you can see how she's deserved our Community Impact Hero Award, and we are so grateful. Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly really exemplifies a one Red Cross relationship. She is there for the Red Cross in every avenue that we would need assistance. Keystone Job Corps in Drums, they are one of our disaster locations. If there is a huge disaster, like the time there was flooding, the hurricanes, they were able to quickly open their building, set up a shelter on a moment's notice. Kelly is always looking for ways to help us. With our smoke alarm saves lives, she gets these students actively involved in participating. If we need volunteers for large-scale blood drives, such as Pocono Raceway or Amazon, Kelly quickly organizes a group of students to come and support us. She holds blood drives on a 6-cycle consistently, always encouraging people about our mission, about the importance of donating blood. She's a very large presence in the community of Northeastern PA, not just at Keystone Job Corps. She's also the director of Red Rock, which her position, naturally, very busy lady, but she's always available. She is one of the people that you can pick up a phone and she will get back to you, or we have a blood drive, she's there. It's just amazing. And she's very motivating, especially with our first-time donors, motivating students, and, really setting an example by donating blood herself and encouraging and students to do so. She goes way above beyond, and we all agreed at our Northeastern PA Blood Center that her recognition is long overdue.
My personal relationship with the Red Cross started when I was in college. I started donating blood. I was 18 years old and I walked by a blood drive and I thought, well, that seems interesting, and if it's harmless, doesn't hurt too much, let me try this. And ever since then, I have been a donor, and I've also looked for other opportunities. I've lived all over the country, and so each location I'm at, I've always found a place to donate blood, because I think it's an easy one, right? I tell my students all the time, it's just a pinch for you, but it costs you nothing, but it can mean everything to the family or the individual who needs it. So that's just really been my perspective, 40 plus years, we'll say. We'll stick at 40. So I'm the administrator for both the Keystone and Red Rock Job Corps campuses currently. And what we do is they're residential job training facilities sponsored by the Department of Labor. In such, we really try to teach our students beyond the books, but how to live community. And in that mission of trying to teach our students how to live community, it's just a great partnership with the Red Cross and the Job Corps Center. These are young adults, 16 to 25, who are learning to be, and why not learn to be involved? Why not learn to use your talents and skills to make a difference? So we do blood drives at both campuses. Many of our students are first-time donors, which is very kind of the Red Cross to help our students overcome their fear. I mean, the phlebotomists, their patience is over the moon. Students are very nervous as first-time donors, but then they also take the extra steps in, the Certified Medical Assistant training program here at Keystone. And so they have a lot of questions, and they're very patient in speaking to our students about the profession they're about to enter, as well as the opportunities that exist with the Red Cross. Another one we're involved in is Sound the Alarm campaign. And this year, more than ever, it hit home for our students. and our staff. We had a staff member whose family was involved in a terrible accident, and for her, it just meant the world that our students were able to pitch in and help with the Sound the Alarm campaign. More importantly, we've done that for many years now, but it allows our students to go door to door, and they use their talents and skills to help people get safety devices in their homes. And beyond, and then even further than that, when our students go home to their hometown, to their family's home, they're checking the fire alarms, they're checking the smoke detectors, their carbon monoxide detectors. And they're like, oh, Mom, we need to replace ours. It's out of date, or we mean we don't have one. We have to have one. So, I think the Red Cross has been always very kind and welcoming to our students who want to be part of the community. And, it's just a perfect match with what the Red Cross does and what Job Corps does. Some of our other centers have advanced training in FEMA and administration and disaster relief. And again, a natural match, right? So the Red Cross is very involved in Job Corps. We've been fortunate as well to be part of the school donor program, where many of our students who go to college have benefited from the gracious scholarship from the Red Cross because of the number of donors that we provide. We've helped at the Pocono Raceways blood donor event, between students volunteering to help walk people to and from the tables, and to helping to register participants, to our security students helping to park people. So, the Red Cross has always had open arms for young people to be involved. And I think that's so important in today's world. We've got to allow them to be involved if we're asking them to make a difference. Don't be shy, step up, step in. Very welcoming group, very generous. I haven't encountered a volunteer at any of the locations that we've worked with the Red Cross that hasn't embraced and supported and cheered on people. And I think that's been really beneficial for our students.
So now you can see why Kelly was nominated for Hero and well deserved this nomination. So thank you, Kelly, so much. And part of what you've done is Ride for the Red. So you've helped us with Ride for the Red with volunteers for years, Kelly. Thank you. And Len, why don't you talk a little bit about what Ride for the Red is and when it's coming up?
Sure. So Ride for the Red is a lot of fun. I've done it a number of times. It's held at the Pocono Raceway. And you have an opportunity to drive your car around the racetrack, around the tricky triangle. And you don't have to have a race car or a sports car to do it. I don't. My four-door sedan, I've gone around there many times, picked up some good speed. There's a pace car. You follow the pace car. You can go around as many times as you want. There's a donation request for each lap, but it's very modest, and you'll have a great deal of time. Now, there's a blood drive associated with the race. It's not mandatory that you donate blood, but it's an opportunity to do it very conveniently. Just one piece of advice: donate after you've done the racetrack. Right. The race is July 11th this year. It's the 18th time, the 18th annual Ride for the Red. So it's a lot of fun. Put that on your calendar. I think you'll enjoy it.
It's a very successful event. Our volunteers that are up there and the people from Blood Services who work this event are very good. They have it organized, they have it down pat, and it seems like two wonderful things at the same time, right? You're saving lives and you're having a little fun as well. Right. So, yeah, come out and join us.
We've been doing the telethon for many years, and one of our long-time sponsors is the Lehigh Valley Health Network, and we're very pleased that they're on board with us again. So here's a video and a message from LVHN.
Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono is proud to be a supporter of the American Red Cross and the Northeast PA Telethon. Thank you for all that you do for our community.
Thank you again, LVHN, for your generous support and your long-term support to the Red Cross. It is greatly appreciated. And with that, Sherry, let's take a look at the totals.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, we have a nice round number. We have reached a total of $26,000.
Woo! Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So much.
If you haven't donated yet, please don't wait any longer. We need your help now, which is why our toll-free number is 1-800-HELP-NOW. Or you can reach us on the internet at nipaheroes23.givesmart.com. Thanks again.
Thank you, and that is wonderful. Thank you so much for all of you doing out there and watching, and hopefully if you're just tuning in or if you've been watching for a while, we're happy to have you here at our telethon. We would like to talk to you a little bit about volunteers and what that means. And we have a volunteer coming up on her story, which I think everyone will find an amazing connection to blood services and why blood is so needed and what it does for our community and why. And once you see this video, I think you're going to see the importance and value and how grateful we are for the people who do come out and donate every day.
So the American Red Cross actually saved my life when I was born. I was an emergency C-section and I was born blue. It's kind of a dramatic story. My dad told me that when I was born, he distinctly remembered me being held up only for like a few seconds and then handed to a nurse, and she took off running out the room. And he followed her and saw her running down the hallway to the NICU. And it turned out that I was born with a rare blood incompatibility. So I have B positive blood and my mom has B negative. So they kind of clashed. So I was hooked up to all the tubes and stuff. The hospital was actually almost completely out of blood. They started my transfusion on the last little bit of platelets that they had. And they had to call the Red Cross and send a volunteer that was actually all the way up in Albany, New York, which was about 3 hours from the hospital I was born at. And they stuck that person with a box of blood and in a taxi and all the way down to the hospital. And then my blood transfusion was finished with that special infant blood that they sent that volunteer with. And it was a very stressful night, I think, for my parents, because not even the doctors thought I was going to make it. It was like just suddenly all of these problems that like popped up and they weren't prepared for it, especially because the hospital was almost completely out of blood. So the volunteer came and they dropped off the blood and then they left. They didn't stick around. So we don't know who they were, but I'm very grateful to them. So then I think I stayed 9 days in the NICU, and then I was all better and I went home, and I've been told this story like since I was little, so it was always something that was very important to me. And by the time I think I was like conscious of knowing that it was something that was a big deal that happened, I kind of like made a promise to myself that once I was old enough and once I was able to, I wanted to give back in any way I could. So last year I was finally old enough to donate. So I donated in April, but then my blood test actually came back when they tested the blood that I was very low in my ferritin level. So I was banned. So I'm not allowed to donate again until this April coming up. But I actually hosted a blood drive at my school last year, which was very successful. We went way over our goal. And we raised over $500, which was amazing. I've encouraged a lot of people to do it. I think that, blood donation is kind of like a nervous topic. I think a lot of people get very kind of nervous about it because it's needles and it's blood and it's like everyone kind of gets like skeezed out over it. But it's so important. And, you might not be running into a burning building or pulling someone from a river, but it's so important. And it's really only a few minutes out of your day. Anyone who meets the requirements can donate, and the Red Cross's blood donations that they get, it goes to your community and it helps save lives, which is amazing. And I think that people don't really realize how much blood donation impacts children and infants. And I think everyone kind of thinks of like these crazy scenarios and like burns and cancer and things, which is still a massive, massive part of it too. But I think that's actually what's so great about it, is that blood donation is so versatile. It helps so many people. It doesn't just help extreme cases, but it helps kids, and it helps everyone. And you know, with one blood donation, you can save up to 3 lives, which I think is fantastic. And you might not really think about it, like, especially like when you see signs or whatever, but it really does impact people's lives. And by giving blood and by going and donating, you're single-handedly saving someone's life and giving them a second chance. And the Red Cross has like so many moving parts, and like everyone is kind of like working in their teamwork sort of thing, but you're just like one part of that. And I think that's so special, is that, you know, you do your part and then the next person does their part, and before you know it, you're saving people and you're giving people second chances, and you're fulfilling these miracles that in the time of need they don't think that they're going to get, and you give it to them without getting any kind of validation or, you know, a reward for it. And I think that's really awesome too, especially with our volunteers and the volunteers I've met through working with the Red Cross, is they are just so selfless. And by being a donor and by donating blood, you can selflessly save someone, which I think is just really, really special. And you might be nervous about donating, which I completely understand. I definitely was too, but it's a really important thing to do. And I definitely think that everyone who is able to should definitely do it.
Thank you so much, Rhiannon, for all that you've done and starting out to volunteer with us, and why. We are so grateful for you coming on board and helping out. And you know, I have a fondness for all that you do and all that you are. So we are grateful for all of our volunteers, people who come out and give their time and dedication, their blood, their services, their funding, like you. Anybody who comes out to donate, we are grateful. And we want to thank you all for all of your hard work and knowing that Red Cross is going to be here to help you when you need it the most.
Our volunteers are the backbone of the organization.
No doubt.
We're totally dependent on them, and they are remarkable individuals. I'm always amazed by their enthusiasm, their compassion, and they're willing to sacrifice. They'll go anywhere at a moment's notice when there's a disaster. They're remarkable people. Thank you, volunteers.
Yes, Lennon, you're one of them, see?
Yes, I know.
So standing here today, you'll see that, yes, they will do anything to help out where they know it's needed most. So thank you for all of your participation.
As you know, we handle 60,000 disasters a year. That's one every 8 minutes. I mean, try to wrap your head around that. Every 8 minutes, somewhere in the United States, the Red Cross is responding to a disaster. Right. No other organization can say that. No other charity, no other government organization does as much as the Red Cross in responding to disasters in this country.
Yeah, we're here when people need it most, and our job is to make sure that you have feel safe, have something to eat, have somewhere to go, and money to help you with your necessities during the most difficult time. And we are lucky that with donations like this, that's what we can do. We can provide that funding to people when they need it the most. So that brings us to our next community impact hero. We are so obviously still grateful for the people who nominate people. This person is a Scranton native who has been really working hard to bring back the necessity for blood drives and the hard work and she rolls up her own sleeve to make sure that she's a good leader and shows people that it's not just about planning and bringing black a blood drive and making sure that other people are there, but doing her part as well. So watch this video.
The history of the American Red Cross and the Junior League of Scranton actually goes back to the very early days of the Junior League of Scranton, which now is almost 85 years, close to 85 years ago. And our founder, Margaret L. Richards, she had a lot to do with the American Red Cross and eventually began a chapter of the Junior League of Scranton. So there's a very tight connection, and Gretchen is pivotal in keeping that connection alive today. Gretchen is now currently a sustaining member, but that has not taken her away from being an active and profound member of our organization. Along the way, and I've spoken to many of our members over the past few weeks in regard to Gretchen's receiving this award, they have mentioned how Gretchen has been inspiring, and she empowers all women that she comes into contact with to go ahead and be an important member and a contributing member of their communities. And Gretchen has been a member of many of our different committees. She's been parliamentarian. She has sat on the board of the Junior League of Scranton, and she's been a member of many of our community events. One of her most favorite events is Touch a Truck, which is an annual event that we provide for our community, where kids and families can come out and interact with businesses and trucks and first responders. And she is a pivotal member of that. She is what we like to call the vehicles expert. She is really great, and she thrives in that environment. One of her most notable, and there's many notable projects that Gretchen is a part of with the Junior League of Scranton, is her work through our annual blood drive. She was pivotal in reigniting the connection between the American Red Cross and the Junior League of Scranton back in 2015 in celebration of our 75th anniversary. And she brought back our blood drive and has chaired it many years since then. And her most current, the 2022 blood drive, she was able to help our members secure 20 pints of blood, which to my understanding will help save many, many members of our community. Gretchen is above and beyond passionate about her work and her causes. She is committed to leadership within our community. And like I've said many, many times already, she is inspiring in every single thing she does. And she wants the best for herself, the people around her, and the people in her community.
I joined the Junior League of Scranton back in 2010 and have been a member ever since. And yeah, you're right. I have worn several different hats. I've been fortunate to serve in many roles, from parliamentarian to chair of the history committee to co-chair of our Touch a Truck event, and of course, organizing the blood drives, and then a variety of other events and committees. Back in 2015, we were having our 75th anniversary. The Junior League of Scranton was having our 75th anniversary. And we wanted to revisit some of the projects we had done in the past, spanning the last 75 years. And one of the big ones was the blood drive. And the reason for that is that our founder, Margaret L. Richards, has a direct connection with the Red Cross. She was a Red Cross volunteer during World War I and World War II. And she was a inspirational person who got other members of the Junior League to volunteer with the Red Cross, and then they started having blood drives, and doing different things for the Red Cross back in the 1940s. So in 1956, actually, Margaret L. Richards was still a part of the Junior League, and they started having annual blood drives. And the requirement for each Junior League member that year, and we chuckle at this, but we actually found a newspaper article that stated this, that it was 1 pint or 1 pint or 1 donor per member. So that was the requirement of each Junior League member back in 56. So they were very, very serious about it. And they started a blood committee, actually. And through the 1960s, they held annual blood drives until 1969. And then as they went on to other projects, that fell off. So we decided, fast forward to 2015, and we decided to have one, just to, in commemoration of, what they had done in the past. And it was a success. And then after that happened, I asked the board if we could have another one. And I believe it was 2 years later, 2017. And then we asked the Trip House board if we could have it at the Trip House as well. And from then on, we've had them each year, and I've been able to be the organizer each year, which has been very, very important to me. Even though I think that giving blood is, and I'll say that giving blood is the easiest thing you can do. I, for one, am a little bit queasy, so I know it's physically difficult because it does hurt, but I do it because it's needed. And it's something that's, again, so easy. And if you can do it, if you have, if your blood is healthy and you can do it, there's no reason to not do it. And it's just something that, you can do for others, because you never know when that need might be you or your family. It's just so needed. You can save 3 lives just by giving a pint of blood, and seeing the community come out and give. I just think, we have a generous community here in Northeastern Pennsylvania, and they are willing to come out and do what's necessary to roll up those sleeves and come out, whether it's for the Junior League drive or other drives that go on in our area. Please come out, because it is something that's needed, and it's something that, you can do. So Touch a Truck is a Junior League fundraiser and community event that's probably my favorite league event each year. It's a day that's filled with all of these types of vehicles that come to a city park. You have construction and emergency and city buses and tractor trailers and even a hot air balloon, and all in this one city park where families bring their children, and children get to actually, climb up on the different vehicles and sit in the driver's seat and honk the horns, and actually get to see up close and personal, hands-on, different, vehicles that they may not see or get to experience otherwise. So it's really like, the children's, smiles that day make the noise of the beeping horns worth it, because it's a loud day, but it's a very fulfilling day. Friends of the Poor is a nonprofit in Lackawanna County that, among other things, provides housing assistance, and clothing assistance, different food assistance with for people who live in poverty or around the poverty level, just people in need. And prior to COVID, every year the Friends of the Poor would host this big Thanksgiving dinner at the Scranton Cultural Center, and usually serving about 1,500 people in the 1,500 community members. And then Junior League members actually, we would volunteer at it serving dinners. And these are people that otherwise, wouldn't have had a hot holiday meal, and just a very humbling and eye-opening experience. But then COVID hit. So Friends of the Poor was forced to figure out, like many other organizations, how to serve, do what they did best, and, serve the community. And they decided that they would do food deliveries that year. And they asked the Junior League for assistance. And on behalf of the Junior League, I organized the delivery of the meals that year. And our Junior League members came out in droves, with family and friends in the midst of COVID. It was Thanksgiving of 2020. Everybody with their masks on and, gloves, and being very safe. But the generosity of my fellow Junior League members is something that has never been lost on me, because everybody came out to help serve this community that we had previously served, to make sure that they got these meals. So that year I believe we delivered about 900 meals. We also assist with Christmas dinners, and then there's also a St. Patrick's Day dinner. So ever since then, they never went back to having the meal in person. So they've done the deliveries each time since Thanksgiving of 2020 as deliveries. So Junior League has organized it. So I've overseen the delivery part of it, organizing which cars go where, and, making sure that, each place gets what they need. So in Thanksgiving 2022, we delivered, I think, 1,000 meals to about 40 locations in Lackawanna County. So we were very, very happy to help with that and be able to help with that, because obviously it's something that's, that's near and dear to all of our hearts. Marley's mission is a nonprofit organization that provides equine-assisted psychotherapy for children who have experienced all kinds of trauma. And sorry, I get a little bit emotional talking about it. The organization helps children through horse therapy, basically, and they do it at no cost to the families. So these are children who have experienced the worst unimaginable traumas and tragedies that you can imagine. It's just, as you can tell, a very special organization to me because of what they do for children. And yeah, I've been involved with the organization since the beginning, and even back in the day when we were first starting out, I volunteered up on the farm to, just helping to clean stalls and help with the horses, just whatever is needed, because that in some small way was me helping children.
Volunteers are critical to making the Red Cross work. They are the lifeblood and what really keeps the organization going. I am the Volunteer Satisfaction and Engagement Lead. We try to improve our retention, making sure that everyone's engaged and has their place within the organization. You want to make sure that your volunteers are happy and feel valued, and I think that's very important. I think all the skills that I learned in my career life I've been able to use volunteering for the Red Cross. Planning, being innovative, being able to give someone answers and being able to help somebody. That's something that we take pride in doing, is listening to our volunteers and then acting upon it. Anyone out there has skills that can be useful to the Red Cross. Everyone's valuable, everyone can contribute to the cause. There are just so many different ways to provide assistance for clients, for volunteers. I really feel like I do make a difference, and that means a lot to me. I feel very valued. It's really a good feeling.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Without the letters A, B, and O, there's no mom. There's no Brittany. Because A's, B's, and O's determine your blood type, and we're missing all of them. Schedule your donation at redcrossblood.org.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. The money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
2022 has been a year of crisis for families and communities. This year's extreme disasters upended lives across the country. Around the world, the conflict in Ukraine displaced millions. And in January 2022, the American Red Cross declared its first ever national blood crisis. That's why we're grateful for our volunteers, donors, and partners who stepped up to care for those in need. Your support wrapped a blanket around someone's shoulders, gave them a hot meal, and offered them hope to rebuild their lives. Plus, hundreds of thousands of you helped us to overcome the dire blood crisis and continued to show up throughout the year for patients in need. None of this would have been possible without your support. for these and countless other emergencies.
Every basic need has been met for me and my family and for everyone in the shelter, and that's only because of the people that donate.
People out there ought to know that y'all are out there and around and helping us, and we appreciate it.
My daughter would not be here today. I wouldn't be able to see her smiling face every day if it were not for the people that donated blood.
On behalf of those we serve, thank you.
All right, welcome back. We're here right now, right? It's time to find out what our new total is, and
Okay.
let's get the tote for this time.
Okay.
All right, so let me look. $31,000. So that we have 31,000 now, and it looks like it's always changing, just so you know.
It just went up again. It just went up again.
It's always changing. So thank you so much for all of your support. We want to thank you for donating, and how you can donate: 1-800-HELP-NOW or NEPAHeroes23.givesmart.com. And please come on board and help us out. We're so grateful for the people who've done it so far. We want to talk to you about not only where this money goes, right? So you're donating money, you're giving money to us at Red Cross, and what happens with that? So we empower our volunteers to go out there and help with parts of our lines of work. They are strong people. They are people who take courses to learn how to do what they're doing in their specialty in their fields. They, day after day, are part of our community. They make sure that they are out there doing the work, responding at need. And it's not like you get a phone call and say, okay, 3 hours from now. It's a, can you go now? Call. So we are going to show you a video about one of our really, amongst our many strong volunteers in NEPA, Barbara, who's been out and she's been deployed, and she wants to tell you what that's like.
I have been with the Red Cross a little over 6 years. I am a DAT responder, which is a person who goes to fires and helps, through the Red Cross resources. And the reason why I got started was, besides donating blood for many years, I have seen a couple of fires in Pennsylvania on streets that I lived on, and I was concerned for those people, and I just thought, how can I help them in some way that is not financially strapping me, but I wanted to help them, and it turned out my giving my time and energy was a way to help other people in these situations. So that's what got me started. As a DAT responder or a disaster action team member, I respond to calls that we get in from fire departments saying that a family's been displaced from their home due to a fire, or potentially it could be our flooding situations that happen in Pennsylvania, and or even a vehicle that has crashed into their home and made their home unsafe to live in due to foundation issues or something along those lines, due to something as strange as a car or truck running into their home, which has happened. And so we end up going to the scene if we can during the time when the clients are still there. The residents are called clients once they become part of Red Cross, and we bring them some financial assistance. We bring them blanket and comfort kits so that they are a little prepared to go somewhere else. The comfort kits are toiletry items, is toothpaste, toothbrush. It could be soaps and, even tissues, because sometimes it's so upsetting what they're going through. And then the blanket in case it's a cold day or it's a rainy day, kind of gives them a little, protection in case they weren't able to leave without some items. There's also financial assistance that we give depending on the situation, and we give that to them so they can get to a hotel for a couple of days, or they can buy food and clothing depending on what they need. They can go to a family friend's home as well, but they still usually need replacement items, to continue on. So as a responder, I go there, I do some intake information into a program we have, generally on our phones, or some people bring a laptop or a tablet. We put that information into our Red Cross Care program, or RC Care. We get that call from, it's not directly to me from the fire department. The fire department or 911 will call the Red Cross national number, which is usually run by either volunteers or employees. And then it gets transferred to the Red Cross chapter closest to that fire. And that is sent then on to our duty officers, who are also volunteers of the Red Cross, and they help determine who to send out to the fire, and or whatever that situation is, and they keep track of us. They made sure that there was an actual fire. They confirm that. They get the fire department's name or a police department person's name on scene, and then we can be in touch with the client as well from the duty officer passing that information along to us. And then myself and or two responders always go to the call, and then we just are there to give direction to the client, and that part is really helpful to them. And what I mean by direction is, what do I do next? Is the usual question we get. What do I do next? Or where do I go? How do I, go on with this? So we can give them some direction, some resources that will help them out as well. When we can, we give them those resources. We give them a checkoff list so that they can know who they should be in touch with, their insurance companies if they have that. And if they don't have insurance, we give them some information about rental insurance in Pennsylvania so they can consider that for their future home or back into that home. So those are the types of things that we give, and then on scene generally. And then, as I said, that financial assistance. After we are, finished with the client, and they then go into our system, and a Red Cross recovery team person calls them, and they take it from there to make sure that the client is getting the help that they can from different agencies. Those are nonprofit agencies. It could be state or local agencies, that government agencies that can help them as well. So there's recovery, positions, and then if they need health services, there's other people that help within Red Cross, the clients. But as a DAT responder, I go generally on scene. Sometimes it's over the phone. I can put the information in because it may be too far away or the conditions aren't favorable for driving there. And then we can help the client virtually, which has been helpful in a lot of cases. I've deployed 2 times, and I started doing that after I retired. Before which was only a little over a year ago. So I've gone twice now, once to Louisiana and once to Florida for the hurricane situations. And I was able to, I went down as an ERV driver. That's an emergency response vehicle, and we use it for feeding in those kind of situations. It's either a van or an ambulance size type vehicle that we go there to wherever the situation is, myself and many other people, and we get food from a kitchen that's set up predominantly just for these situations where they're feeding thousands of people. The ERV comes up into the kitchen area, into the drive area there, and they load us up with big containers of food, and then we have the clamshells or the takeout type of containers that people use, and we do meals for residents in the area. So in that sense, we could either be doing a mobile feeding or a stationary feeding. So the stationary feeding would be parked in one spot and people are aware of it, and they walk over to us, they drive over to us, they ride their bicycle over to us. whatever that situation is. And then they tell us how many meals they need, and we pack up, individual meals for them, nice and hot and ready to go. And the meal is generally a meat, a vegetable, a starch item, rice or potatoes, that type of thing. And then we give a snack, and we give water as well, so that they have kind of a complete lunch meal or a dinner meal. The mobile feeding, we drive up and down to certain streets. I was in both places, Louisiana and Florida. I did both of those types of things, where we drove up and down some of the streets. We would call out that we're here. Residents who are at their homes cleaning out all of the debris from, whatever the hurricane has damaged, they're pulling it out to the curb line, and we're giving them that time to just kind of sit and have a meal, have a lunch meal, something hot, something delicious. That's the other good part of it. And they just take a break. It's not long. They don't have to drive out to some store, because of course their refrigerators and things are not able to be used at that point. So this gives them that little respite of getting lunch or dinner or both. We circle back around later on at at the dinner time to provide a meal as well. So that's what that part of the deployment is what I do. Other people do sheltering. And those meals can also be delivered to a shelter, and they set up people at the shelter to provide the food for them, depending on how many people and all. Or sometimes we even did drop-offs, where we would drop off to a church, a few hundred meals, and they then were taking on the responsibility of feeding the people in that area. So that was very nice of them to do as well. So that was one of the things. And then sheltering is where, people have cots set up, they're given blankets and the toiletry items they need, they're given information, and they're connected with agencies that can help them. There's some agencies that may come to a shelter area, or their phone numbers will be available, or they'd meet at another center area where other agencies, the FEMA and whatever state agencies are available, or local agencies are available, and they can help them there as well. We generally would have some table there, as well, but, we're not the major people for financial assistance in that aspect. We do help, definitely. And so for going on deployment, Red Cross does send you to there. They pay for the transportation. So depending on if it's a flight or it's driving, and then you stay in a staff shelter, which could be a big dormitory area of people, from all the different states. That was one of the nice parts of doing this, was you get to meet some other Red Cross people from many states, and you start making a bond with some of them. They may know more, because, as I said, mine were the first couple of times that I had went and didn't know everything about it, but they help direct you and give you some backup for when you're doing whatever position you're in with feeding or whatever. So, and of course we have training for all of that as well. So there's training for when you're just a DAT responder, in local events, but you're also trained for sheltering or for IRV driving and feeding. There's basic food safety and things like that we all go through. So it's a very interesting and rewarding thing, because you're helping people either from their fires at home, or their flooded conditions, or their wind damage from hurricanes, whatever degree we can help them out with, we try through Red Cross. So it's been very good.
I deployed here as a supervisor, and I am in charge of the dormitory. The work that we do with the children here at a Red Cross shelter really helps the parents start to see their children. It calms their nerves a little bit. As all parents do, we worry first and foremost about our kids and how they're doing. So when they see that their kids are still acting normal, and still interacting with their peers or with other people, the parents can sort of take that burden off their shoulders and start to really think about other things like recovery and moving on. Having an area like this at the shelter where we have toys and games and things that are common in their everyday lives really helps them develop a sense of normalcy. I volunteer for the Red Cross because, quite honestly, it feeds my soul to know that there are people who are suffering these traumatic events, these major natural disasters, whose lives have been upended, to know that I can come in and offer them some comfort, that I can bring my expertise in sheltering to them so that I can start their healing process, really drives me.
They're just really grateful that we're there. You know, we chat for a little while and then they go about their business and we go about moving on to the, you know, the next couple of houses or so. But they have just been so thrilled that we're there. And when we come back, they always tell us about how good the meal was, you know, the day before, or, you know, from lunch to dinner, if we end up on the same streets and all. They're just thrilled that we're there. We, you know, do a loudspeaker announcement that we're coming down the street so they can start coming from wherever they are in the house and come on out. And it just, I think it's been for me, it's, you know, it's been a really, as I said, rewarding, but it's just such a nice feeling to be able to do that small bit for them, you know, as many times as we can, obviously, to help them out. And, you know, that I think it's just been a wonderful thing. So they've all been, you know, very happy with what we do. So I don't think I had a complaint the whole time. So I think everybody's pretty thrilled. And it, you know, it saves them a little time. It saves them a little money that they can put towards something else that they need to replace, because that's what they're doing. They're replacing. And if they had to go to a restaurant, if and when restaurants are open in the areas, but if they had to, they'd be spending more money. But they can't be cooking in their homes if there's either no electricity or there's been a flood situation and refrigerators and stoves have been damaged. So, you know, it's just very important that we're there for them. I went into my role first because it seemed to be the most convenient for me. I was working at the time when I started and for many years after that. And I would do the disaster action team after I got off from work. So from 4 o'clock on or whatever, throughout the night, it all depends. Everybody has a different flexibility for when they can do you know, responding to fires. You know, so we ask them what their availability is. So if it's a couple of hours a day, a couple of hours every week or something, we can, you know, work them into being put on the schedule. And then there's other positions. There's logistics positions, and this also helps in deployment also. But logistically, we need to get supplies from our warehouses back to our chapter offices. And so we may have somebody who does that kind of driving to get things. It's within Pennsylvania. They may be doing the checking of the vehicles that we have. We have different size vehicles, the pickups and Suburbans, and what we call ProMaster, which is a van for moving logistical supplies around, large items. And we have the IRV that can be also used for, you know, moving things. So we have people who are, you know, more available to do that type of thing, more interested in doing that. There's other positions where there's health services and mental health services and spiritual care, people who help with people who have been displaced from fires or floods or whatever, that they help in their areas, that their specialty areas, their expertise, with helping with the clients also. So those are licensed people, credited people into their fields in particular. Along with that, we have besides blood services, but there's always looking for transportation for people for blood services and blood donor ambassadors. But you may have somebody who addresses that. I wear a couple of hats, so to speak, and one of them is workforce engagement. So we welcome new people on. We work with them to get through their training. We let them know about our other meetings that we have and things like that. So workforce engagement also helps with recognizing the volunteers when they're doing some wonderful things. They organize some activities within Red Cross so we could all kind of gather besides our general chapter meetings. So we get to meet and know each other a little bit better. So workforce engagement people is another role to play. And of course, there's volunteer services that are the first step after somebody decides to be a volunteer, and the volunteer services work them through some of the information, background checks, and just figure out which role they might be most interested in or most appropriate for, and then they move on to a workforce engagement person from that particular chapter so they can tell them about activities in the chapter. So those are some of the positions. We have many, and we're very flexible, always looking to have people come and help us out.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for all you've done and the support you've given the teams out there when you're on deployment and the people and our clients. We are so grateful for everything that you've done. And our volunteer program and the people in our volunteer services are, as I said before, the heart of our organization. Without them, we could not continue the work we do. I want you to take a look at this next video. This is about what it's like from a perspective of deployment, right? You're going into a community, it's a devastated community, and we don't know what had happened, or there's certain areas and certain times that things happen. This is what it's like to respond and deploy. You'll see, Barbara talked about our herbs and what their needs are. You'll see the herbs in the background, but watch and see a perspective from what a volunteer goes through when they deploy.
When the storm started, we saw the water coming up through the doors. For like a day, it didn't go down, we just laid in water. It was up to the light switches. If it would have come up anymore, we'd have drowned. I'm strong, I've always been strong and went through a lot, but this is the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. It's bad. We're all hurting. You appreciate anybody that even comes by and says, hi, how are you? It's just to hear voices sometimes. People out there ought to know that y'all are out there and around and helping us. And we appreciate it.
So as you can see, this is what it's like when people go out in deployment for us. And when we look at videos, a lot of people think, well, that doesn't affect us in NEPA, or that's not how, we're not out there. Well, our volunteers are out there. Your neighbors are out there. The people around you who are volunteering for American Red Cross are the volunteers who go out and deploy to these areas. They sign up for it willingly. They are trained for it. And actually, with that last hurricane, we had volunteers do cycles. So they would come back and they'd be back for a few days and then they would go back again. So when we say we are part of all of Red Cross, we are part of all of Red Cross. Your community, your friends, your family, our volunteers are all out there working hard so that the people who are going through extraordinary situations go through it with ease and comfort that wouldn't be there if it weren't for Red Cross.
Our volunteers are remarkable people.
They really are.
And we appreciate them. Another important sponsor for this event is Blue Ridge Cable. Not only is Blue Ridge giving us the set, the crew, everything we need to broadcast this telethon, but they're giving us a financial contribution. Remarkable. We thank them so much for everything they're doing to help the Red Cross. Here's Kim Bell telling their story.
I'm Kim Bell from BRC TV 13, and I'm so happy to be here and to be a part of the American Red Cross Telethon 2023. I want to thank the Red Cross for everything they do for all of us here in the Pocono Mountains. And I have some wonderful news. We are so happy at Blue Ridge Communications and all the companies that are part of Pencor Services to offer this wonderful check for $1,000 to help the American Red Cross continue in their mission to help all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim Bell, and everyone at Blue Ridge Communications. I think it's that time again, is it?
It is that time. The time being to look at what the number is. So we're getting close to the end.
Yes.
We are hoping that number goes up. Let's take a look. The number is $33,750.
Yay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, that doesn't stop here, right?
No, we need to keep going.
We keep going. So anytime you want to donate, 1-800-HELP-NOW, NEPA Heroes 23.givesmart.com. Thank you.
Please give whatever you can.
This is a very important thing when we wanted to make sure that we showed our perspective on volunteers and how they are out in the community and what they do. It was very important for this year for me to connect the volunteer efforts and you and your funding that you're supporting or your donations that you're giving. Why is that important, and what do we do in between that and responding to an event, a fire event, or some other tragic event that's happening in our community? Roxanne is one of our volunteers. She's been with us a long time. And I think if you see her perspective and what it's like to be a DAT responsor, which is our disaster action team responsor, they respond constantly and they train and train for it. They are all specialized in parts of the field and what they do. And I think if you look at this story, you're really going to see how it makes a difference in our community.
When I first started, I was working at blood drives and I had signed up to be part of the disaster action team. Those are the people that come out when your house is on fire or flooding and do that immediate assistance that we do for people. The longer I was involved, the more different avenues I found that interest me. So currently I head up our recovery department for all of Northeast PA, and that is the after calls and the aftercare to try to get people on the road to recovery after that immediate assistance comes in. But I also have done specialty training with mass casualty, with condolence care teams, when there is a fatality in a disaster. I am on a virtual hotline that's a national hotline. There's many things you can do with the Red Cross, and I tried to dabble in all of them to see what's the best fit for me. We have a saying, if you've been to one disaster, you've been to one disaster. And that's so true, because when something happens to you, it's really individual circumstances. And that's where recovery comes in. Just an example, say you have an apartment fire. The normal thing is our disaster action team, they will come, they'll meet your immediate needs with a blanket, a comfort kit, some help getting a hotel room, or whatever it is you need immediately at that time. What recovery does is they give you usually 48 hours to just let the adrenaline settle, start to think about, now what do I do? Who do I need to call? What are my next steps? And then recovery steps in. And what we do is try to hook each person up with the resources that are available in their county, depending on what their needs are. There's a great difference between an apartment dweller who has no insurance or a homeowner possibly with insurance that maybe has more needs. Some people have families, others don't. Some people have to work, others don't. There could be children, large pets involved. So really every person is different. And we just try to listen. We try to be compassionate. We try to help them understand that what they're feeling is normal. And we just try to hook them up with resources in the area. In addition, we have other specialty tracks, which would be health services, disaster counseling, as far as your mental health, spiritual care. So a caseworker tries to listen for any of those triggers that maybe we could offer an extra call from somebody who's specialized in that. So some deployments, most recently, I just got off one, but it was a virtual one I did from home, and it was helping with a large apartment building fire that was out in Pittsburgh. But I've also gone down to Philadelphia and just helped out for a short time in a shelter down there. But the big ones I think that most people think about are, let's see, I was down in Panama City, Florida for Hurricane Michael. That was that hurricane, that Category 5 that went through and just decimated that area. I was down in Beaumont, Texas for Tropical Storm Imelda, which hit a lot of low-income areas that had previously been hit by Hurricane Harvey. So that was people who were just getting back on their feet got hit again. Most recently, as far as a physical deployment, I was last Christmas and New Year's, I was out in Western Kentucky for those deadly tornadoes that ripped through there and helping out there. Red Cross has us something, damage assessment teams, and they're the ones that kind of go out and assess the homes. What recovery does, which is what I usually specialize in on deployment, is mainly work with the people in the shelters. We have a specialty track for that now, and it kind of answers, it tries to answer one question: why are you in the shelter? It seems like an obvious question, but there's a reason that you're in a shelter and not at maybe a relative's house or not back in your home. Like, what is that thing that's keeping you there once the danger has passed? What do you need to be able to start recovering and getting on with, your new normal life? So that can be anything from trying to find housing. It can be finding out that they have a relative in a neighboring state and getting them, bus tickets to there. One time we had something as simple as, in a conversation, finding out the only thing keeping them in the shelter was they had gotten tons of donations and they were all in these totes, and they couldn't take the totes on the bus, and they just needed suitcases. So we were able to go and provide them with suitcases that got them on a bus on their way to family where they could start over again, because their community was, had been basically destroyed. A lot of it is just listening and just sitting there and listening to their experience. Speaking of our local area, Northeastern PA, this past year we've had some big moments, that made it to news all the way up to national. We had a big multifamily fire that displaced over 100 people at the beginning of last year, to a multi fatality fire that was over the summer that was really heartbreaking. So those seem like they would be the memorable ones. But for me personally, it's just sometimes the small little cases. And there's this one woman, and I'll keep this very vague for confidentiality, but before the fire she was living in poverty. She had a little boy. If I remember correctly, I believe he was about 6 or 7. And so their life was a struggle, and the place they lived was not the best. And so they had a fire, and they were both able to get out safely, but she didn't know what to do next, because for a lot of people nowadays, they're hanging on by a thread before disaster hits. And the way that case wrapped up, through listening, through sending out resources and talking through solutions, she was able to end up in a program, a 9-month program, in not a shelter, but like a home for mothers with children. And so she was going off to this home with her and her son, where they were going to be able to provide her with job training, help with job applications, interviewing skills, childcare. While she went and looked for this, they were going to give her financial management courses, all this kind of thing. So again, I think it's the big ones that get the attention, but I just think of something like that, where there was a family struggling that maybe wasn't even on anybody's radar, and because of the disaster, they were able to maybe now have a better life. So those are the ones that really touch my heart the most. I had stopped working, and I was starting to search for what my purpose was, and started dabbling in some different charities, trying to figure out how could I give my time back to our community. And there was a winter ice storm that had hit in Monroe County, and my mother happened to be in assisted living there at the time. and the power was all knocked out. And I was a little frantic, like, where's my mother? What happened? Because the power was out at the assisted living and they were all gone. And I quickly found out she was at a Red Cross shelter that had been set up. And so, of course, as soon as the roads were safe, I went to see her. And if you know my mom, not much makes her happy, but I never saw her so happy. She was like, these people are so nice and they're bringing us meals and they're talking to us. And she was just loving the attention she was getting. And I was just watching, what they were doing. And I guess you see that on TV when you're just seeing a hurricane or something like that. But to be in one of the shelters and see the way they were treating these people. And I started talking to the people and listening to their stories and trying to lend a little hand here and there. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. Like that's what I want to do. And it was because of my mother. I hear very often from people, I didn't know the Red Cross did that. I didn't know the Red Cross did that. So I think it is that if you're interested in helping, I mean, obviously donations are always needed, but even if you have a busy life, there's a place for you with the Red Cross. No matter what it is, what I do isn't for everybody. You don't have to deploy. You don't have to get one-on-one with the clients. There are people who handle our inventory, people who, work at the blood drives. There actually, right now, we have a need for people who will just drive the blood from the blood drives to the center. So you could just take a drive once a week, something like that. There are so many different opportunities that you can help. And you won't believe how much you get out of what you give. I mean, I get so much more back than what I give. There's something special about it. A lot of us watch the news nowadays and you see a lot of bad news on TV. And it can sometimes feel to me that everything's going bad in the world. And I can tell you, I've had people say, how can you go to this disaster area? How can you stand to watch that suffering? And my answer to that is that when you go to a disaster, you get to see all the good people, like all the quiet good people step up. And when you watch this community come together and strangers coming to help and to donate and to just coming out of the woodwork saying, what can I do? Even if it's to feed us so that we can keep going and doing what we're doing with 12-hour days. The person who's driving you, the person who in the airport notices your badge and buys you a cup of coffee, like the goodness that comes out of a disaster is just makes me know why I'm doing this, that our world has many more kind people than that you would be led to believe by the television.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I served in the military for a total of 24 years. Working in the military, I see young soldiers coming back after the war. If we can give back and help support them, uplift them, that's important. I volunteer for the service of the armed force. We provide service for veterans and active military members. We do education. We give information of how to take care of yourself and what to look out for. I make them aware, or let them know that, hey, I'm a veteran, I know where you're coming from and what you've been through. So they feel, oh, this person will look out for me. It's important to support veterans because they sacrifice so much for us, for the country as a whole. I feel that I contribute to taking care of those that are in greatest need. I belong. I'm part of a community. I'm serving a purpose that will be remembered long after I'm gone.
Hello, I'm Don Seipel, the president of the St. Luke's Monroe campus. I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been able to see the impact that they make on the residents of our community, many of which we serve as well as patients. The money that you donate will go to good use. Please consider giving to the American Red Cross.
Turn your compassion into action when you volunteer with the American Red Cross. Communities across the country count on the Red Cross every day, from helping people affected by disasters like home fires and floods to supporting the collection of life-saving blood. You can make a difference. 90% of our workforce are volunteers who are inspired to give back. Discover the volunteer role that's right for you. Join us and help turn tragedy into hope. We can't do it without you. Visit redcross.org/volunteer.
Within American Red Cross, we function because of volunteers. Volunteers are the root of who we are and how we respond. You see them everywhere. They are the people who are out in the middle of the night responding to fires. They are the people delivering the blood-saving, the life-saving blood to all of our communities. These are the people that are the heart of our organization, and we are so grateful that they choose us. It is so important and valuable that we give them the experiences they are looking for. When you looked at Roxana earlier in her video speaking about deploying and what it means to deploy, or speaking about what it means to go out in the middle of the night and respond, this is our way of connecting with you. They are the first people. They are the people you see for American Red Cross response. And we could not do what we do without them. And to say we are grateful is an understatement. We function because of our volunteers. And with that support, we are beyond grateful for what we can do in the communities we serve. Now, I would like to also, I would like to say that not only is volunteers important, we have board people who volunteer, we have people who are in the office volunteering. There are so many parts of the volunteer part of Red Cross. It is not just the response or DAT teams. It is very much everyone. And we have Len, who is with us, who is our board chair. And I think it's important for you to understand why you walked into Red Cross. What made you come here? Because I think the people need to know the connections and why people volunteer for American Red Cross, and I think you're the perfect person to tell them.
Thank you, Sherry. Well, I have the honor of serving as the board chair for the Red Cross of Northeast Pennsylvania. Like most people, I've known about the Red Cross since I was very young. However, I'm still amazed by the incredible work performed by the staff and volunteers in our community. As you've heard during this telethon, the American Red Cross mission is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. Today, we've highlighted some of the personal stories about how the Red Cross mission has affected individuals in our community. I think you'll agree that these stories are inspiring. I want to spend a couple of minutes putting some numbers behind those stories. As you know, the Red Cross helps people who have been impacted by disasters, both natural and man-made. But did you know that the Red Cross responds to an average of more than 60,000 disasters every year? As you know, the Red Cross collects blood for patients in thousands of hospitals and transfusion centers across the country. But did you know that every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood due to medical reasons? And you probably know that the Red Cross provides financial assistance to military families. But did you know that more than 110,000 military families reach out to the Red Cross for emergency assistance each year? That's approximately 300 families per day. The Red Cross installs free smoke detectors in at-risk homes. Did you know that last year in Northeast Pennsylvania, we installed 1,000 free smoke detectors? And you probably know that the Red Cross provides a wide range of training courses to help save lives. But did you know that last year in Northeast Pennsylvania, we taught over 11,460 adults and children in first aid, CPR, and other life-saving skills. So as you can see, the individual stories we've presented today are not isolated incidents. They happen over and over, every day, across our region, our state, and our nation. One other important reason to support the Red Cross is that we rely so heavily on volunteers. Did you know that 95% of our disaster relief workers are volunteers? That means a very high percentage of the dollars that we contribute go directly to aid people in need. There are several ways you can support the Red Cross and its mission. You can give blood, you can become a volunteer, and you can make a financial donation, which is the goal of this telethon. This event is our major fundraiser of the year in Northeast Pennsylvania. Your financial donation to the Red Cross helps provide food, shelter, relief supplies, emotional support, recovery, planning, and other valuable assistance to our friends, families, and neighbors when they are experiencing their greatest need. If you've been moved by these stories today, please help us create more. Your donation will go a long way. Please give whatever you can. Thank you.
Len, I think you gave an incredible recap of the services in a very short period of time. But I remember when I started with the telethon, I actually didn't even know that the Red Cross did military assistance. So I remember learning that, and I remember learning different pieces as I started to get more involved with the Red Cross. So I think those are good reminders. And you and I were chatting just a little bit before some of the taping here, and 8 minutes, every 8 minutes, Red Cross responds to a tragedy and an emergency, which I know you put a lot of great numbers in there, but, and that is true, and I hope that gives people an understanding. But 8 minutes, I mean, you really think about 8 minutes and how many things that are happening in the different types of emergencies. And then also I think the other piece that was really nice in your comments was the amount of volunteers, and when you do a donation, where that gets transferred to the people really who are going through the tragedies, who have experienced terrible circumstances. And we hope you never have to ever experience any sort of these tragedies, but to understand that these are normal, everyday people where life happens. So that was a great recap, so thank you for that. And I'm very pleased to announce where we're currently at.
All right.
So drum roll again. $34,750. So we are definitely going forward. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for your support.
Thank
we are
you.
Blessed.
It is great. And I know, Sherry, you want to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming local chapter events that people can get involved
we
in.
have a lot going on in NEPA always. We do have, and I will always say, we need volunteers anytime you want to come out and help us. We always would appreciate the support of volunteers. We will custom make what you are looking for. So we don't put you into what we need. We make sure that you are getting what you need from your volunteer experience. So anytime, we will always say that that is something we are looking for. We have the Ride for the Red coming up. That will be scheduled in July, so keep your calendars open. That's a really fun event. at the Raceway, where you can drive your car and do a lap after you donate some blood. Very successful event for us. So we are very lucky that that is happening, and we are happy for the people who've been doing that for years and years. And we know that that Corvette Club loves to come out and drive their cars. So we are very grateful. Also, we have some of our just normal activities at the chapter. We're doing a lot of CPR classes, a lot of classes in education to help people with getting accredited and the things that they need. So that's always something that's going on. So whatever you need to know, 1-800-RED Cross, they get in touch with us instantly to find out if you're looking for information or what we can do to help you in anything that you're looking for questions or what we do at the chapter level. I am so grateful for today. I am honored to be part of this institute. I love American Red Cross. I love everything about it. Being here is not really a job for me. It is an honor, and I am lucky to be surrounded by amazing people every single day of my life. With that, I can't thank you enough to everyone. We have support from so many people. We have our amazing sponsors out there, right? So people who are sponsors really, to me, are someone that you can't believe that at the end of the day, they are taking what they have and trusting it with you and trusting and saying, I know this is going somewhere important. So our Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau, which I cannot get close to their commercials, so don't even think I'm going to advertise as cool as they do. I will never be as cool as they are on TV. But we are so grateful for all that they do and grateful that they have chosen to be our sponsor. And I promise one day him and I we are gonna get together and we're gonna appear in a video. We are. That's one of my,
might have you
my
on a race
lifetime
car.
goals. Yes.
He might have you on a race car somewhere.
I think
That
that's a
would
great
be-
idea.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you know, one of the spas with like a nice. But thank you so much for supporting us and coming here and saying that Red Cross is someone that we believe in, because we are grateful for all of our sponsors.
Yeah, and the Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau, we also say PMVB.
You're right.
We'll use that nickname or acronym for them a lot of times, but they have really become, because we're so tourism driven, they have become so involved in giving back to the community.
they're amazing.
Chris Barrett, who's the executive director, he has really, sort of identified different needs and they just started recently doing grants for local municipalities to give back some of what we might need to do locally in the municipalities, and then also recognizing that the dollars that we generate from the room tax and some other things from the Visitors Bureau can get directed towards great organizations that help local tragedies and communities.
amazing.
So their donation and sponsorship towards this is big.
It
And
is.
it shows that we welcome people to our area, but we also need to take care of the people that go through things in our area too. So thank you to PMVB.
On behalf of the Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau, we want to say thank you so much, and we are honored to support this year's American Red Cross Telethon. Congratulations to this year's hero winners. We really can't thank you enough for all that you do for the community, and you are wonderful community partners. Thanks again, and have a great telethon.
Okay, thank you again, Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau, for your sponsorship and giving back to the Red Cross, especially the local Northeastern Red Cross chapters. So, we're closing out here a little bit, and we have some great news, Len.
Well, it's time for our final tote of the telethon. So you all ready?
Yes. Ready, drum roll again. Here we go,
Let's take a
drum roll.
look. Our number at the end of the telethon is $37,250. So thank you, everybody who's made this event a success. This is our major fundraiser of the year. We appreciate everything you've done. If you haven't donated yet, there's still time. Please don't turn off the TV. Take the number. It's 1-800-HELP-NOW, or online, nipaheroes23.givesmart.com. Thank you all.
Thank you so
very
much for your support. We are so grateful.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Heroes Telethon 2023 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, MetLife, Navient, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Wayne Memorial Hospital, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth, Pocono Manor Investors LP, Woodlock Resort.
Mondays. I promise you we're gonna find her. Alert is TV's most thrilling new drama.
The kidnapper might still be in the area.
I got a description, but no ID.
We're almost out of time.
We gotta dig deeper. And now you can watch anytime.
We got a hit. He doesn't get away.
Come on, let's go, 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 go. The girls, where are they? Come on! You're safe now. You're okay.